What if the most hated child in Konoha never experienced that hatred at all? What if instead of growing up alone and ostracized, Naruto Uzumaki was raised by the progenitor of all chakra herself, Kaguya Otsutsuki? This complete timeline rewrite explores how one impossible encounter on the night of the Nine Tails attack would transform every single saga of the Naruto series. From the academy days to the Fourth Great Ninja War, from his relationships with Sasuke and Sakura to his encounters with the Akatsuki, everything changes when the Mother of Chakra becomes the mother figure to the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. This is not just a different childhood. This is an entirely new destiny that ripples through the entire shinobi world. Saga 1: The Rabbit Goddess's Apprentice. In the original timeline, Naruto Uzumaki's first years were marked by profound loneliness and rejection. After the Nine Tails attack on October 10th, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki sacrificed their lives to seal the Nine Tails into their newborn son. The fourth Hokage's final wish was for the village to see Naruto as a hero who contained the beast that nearly destroyed Konoha. However, the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, despite his good intentions, largely failed to protect Naruto from the village's hatred. Most villagers could not separate the Nine Tails from its container, viewing Naruto as the demon fox itself rather than the boy who held it. Hiruzen kept Naruto's parentage secret to protect him from Minato's enemies, giving him Kushina's surname instead of Namikaze. This decision, while strategically sound, meant Naruto grew up without knowledge of his heroic parents or why people treated him with such hostility. From infancy, Naruto lived alone. Canon never clearly establishes who cared for him as a baby, though it is implied he may have stayed in Konoha's orphanage briefly before being given his own apartment at an impossibly young age. The third Hokage provided monthly allowances and occasionally checked on him, an approach that barely qualified as guardianship. By age 4 or 5, Naruto was already living independently, somehow having learned basic skills like walking, talking, and feeding himself without consistent parental guidance. The village's treatment of him was relentlessly cruel. Adults glared at him with open hatred, shopkeepers overcharged him or refused his business entirely, and other children were warned by their parents to stay away from him. Naruto had no understanding of why everyone despised him. The third Hokage had forbidden anyone from speaking about the Nine Tails, hoping younger generations would not inherit the older generation's hatred. This policy backfired terribly, leaving Naruto completely confused about his own identity and the source of everyone's animosity. His loneliness drove him to seek attention through increasingly outrageous pranks. He painted the Hokage monument, disrupted classes at the academy, and caused general mayhem throughout the village. These actions were desperate attempts to be acknowledged, even if the acknowledgement came in the form of anger rather than affection. Very few people showed Naruto any kindness during these early years. Iruka Umino, a Chunin instructor at the academy, eventually became an important figure in his life, though even Iruka initially struggled with his own prejudices after losing his parents in the Nine Tails attack. Toichi and Ayame, the owners of Ichiraku Ramen, treated Naruto with basic human decency, making their shop one of the few places he felt welcome. Young Hinata Hyuga admired him from afar, inspired by his refusal to give up despite everyone's rejection. These sparse connections were the only light in an otherwise dark childhood that shaped Naruto into someone desperate for recognition and acknowledgement. Someone who would do anything to prove his worth to a village that had given him nothing but scorn. The what-if timeline diverges on that fateful night of October 10th, in the moments immediately following Minato and Kushina's deaths. As the fourth Hokage completed the 8 trigram sealing jutsu, binding half of the Nine Tails within himself and half within baby Naruto, the massive discharge of chakra created ripples that echoed across dimensions. This was not ordinary chakra. This was the power of the Nine Tails, one of the fragments of the 10 Tails, combined with the sealing technique of an Uzumaki and the sacrifice of a Hokage. The chakra signature was unmistakable to one particular consciousness that had been sealed away for centuries. Deep within the moon, where Hagoromo and Hamura had imprisoned their mother ages ago, Kaguya Otsutsuki stirred. Her third eye, the Rinne Sharingan, perceived the disturbance even through her seal. She recognized the chakra pattern of the 10 Tails, that beast which was born from her own merger with the God Tree. More importantly, she sensed something else. A newborn child, an Uzumaki by blood, carrying half of that tremendous power within a seal. Black Zetsu, Kaguya's will made manifest, had been working for over 1,000 years to orchestrate her revival. He sensed the same disturbance and immediately understood its significance. A child Jinchuriki, newly sealed, with Uzumaki vitality and chakra reserves. This was not the final piece for Kaguya's revival that would require the infinite Tsukuyomi and the gathering of all chakra, but it was an opportunity. Black Zetsu had been manipulating the shinobi world from the shadows for generations, working through the Uchiha and others to create the conditions for Kaguya's return. Now he saw a different possibility. If Kaguya could project even a fraction of her consciousness through the seal, if she could interact with this child who carried a portion of her own power, she might be able to accelerate her revival, or at least gain a powerful asset for the future. Using abilities he had refined over centuries, Black Zetsu created a temporary rift in Kaguya's seal, just enough for her to extend her awareness and a portion of her presence into the world. Kaguya's manifestation was not complete. She could not fully break her seal without the proper conditions Black Zetsu had been arranging. However, she could create a partial projection of herself, similar to how she would later teleport between dimensions, though far more limited in this weakened state. Her Rinna Sharingan focused on the location where the Nine-Tails chakra emanated from. She saw the aftermath of the battle. Minato and Kushina lay dead, their bodies pierced by the Nine-Tails claw. The baby Naruto, crying on the ground between them, had the seal fresh on his stomach. The third Hokage was approaching the location, but had not yet broken through Kushina's barrier, which was slowly dissipating. Kaguya had mere moments to act. Her motivation was complex. She viewed the world as her nursery, something to be protected from damage, though her methods were tyrannical. She had lost faith in humanity after they turned the chakra she gave them into weapons for endless war. Yet when she looked at this newborn child, she saw something that stirred ancient memories. He reminded her of her own sons in their infancy, before they betrayed her, before they sealed her away. More practically, Kaguya recognized the strategic value of this situation. This child carried half of the Nine-Tails, a significant portion of the Ten-Tails chakra that rightfully belonged to her. He was an Uzumaki, a clan descended from her son Hagoromo's teachings and Asura's bloodline, with natural affinity for sealing jutsu and enormous chakra reserves. If she raised this child, taught him, shaped him according to her will, he could become an asset in reclaiming all the chakra that had been scattered across the world. He could help her restore what humanity had stolen from her. Additionally, there was genuine emotional resonance. Kaguya had wept when seeing Naruto and Sasuke fight against her in the original timeline because they reminded her of Hagoromo and Hamura. Now she had the opportunity to raise a child again, to perhaps not repeat the mistakes that led to her son's betrayal. These motivations, strategic calculation mixed with genuine maternal instinct, drove her decision. Using Yomotsu Hirasaka, her ability to open rifts between dimensions even in her weakened state, Kaguya created a portal directly to Naruto's location. She extended her manifestation through it, her pale form materializing in the blood-soaked clearing. She moved with purpose, not wasting the limited time she had before the third Hokage arrived. She lifted baby Naruto gently, her Byakugan examining the seal on his stomach. The 8-trigram seal was masterfully crafted, typical of Minato's skill. It would hold the Nine-Tails securely while allowing the child to access its chakra gradually. Perfect. She examined the child more closely. He had his mother's facial features and his father's bright blonde hair. His eyes, when they opened, were blue, like the fourth Hokage's. He had stopped crying when she picked him up, perhaps sensing instinctively that this being meant him no harm. Kaguya felt something she had not felt in centuries, a protective instinct toward this fragile new life. She would take him, she would raise him, she would teach him the truth about chakra and the world. And perhaps, through him, she would find redemption or at least a path back to power that did not require treating all of humanity as her enemy. The third Hokage broke through the barrier seconds after Kaguya vanished through her portal. Hiruzen arrived to find Minato and Kushina's bodies, but no baby. The Anbu who followed him spread out immediately, searching desperately for the fourth Hokage's son. They found nothing. No traces, no tracks, no chakra signature to follow. It was as if baby Naruto had simply ceased to exist. Hiruzen's heart sank with the terrible realization. The village had lost not only their fourth Hokage and his wife, but also their newborn son, the child who was meant to be their ultimate weapon against future threats. Hiruzen ordered the search to continue for weeks, but Naruto was gone, taken to a place no shinobi of that era could reach. The official story told to the village was that the fourth Hokage had sealed the Nine Tails at the cost of his life, with no mention of a child or where the beast's chakra now resided. This omission would have profound consequences for Konoha's future, depriving them of their Jinchuriki, and leaving them vulnerable in ways they would not realize for years. Kaguya brought Naruto to one of her personal dimensions, specifically the dimension of ice and snow that would later be seen during her battle with Team 7. However, she created a habitable zone within it, a palace carved from ice that never melted, heated by her chakra, and protected from the harsh elements outside. This would be Naruto's home for his first years. The palace was vast and empty, reflecting Kaguya's isolation, though she made efforts to make certain areas suitable for a child. Black Zetsu was present as well, serving as an intermediary and occasionally assisting with Naruto's care when Kaguya's projection needed to conserve energy. Raising a baby while only partially escaped from her seal was challenging even for Kaguya. She had to maintain her manifestation through constant effort, drawing on the chakra reserves she could access through Black Zetsu's connection to the world. Fortunately, the dimension itself was part of her, and she could manipulate it at will, creating whatever Naruto needed. Naruto's infancy in this timeline was radically different from canon. Instead of lying alone in an apartment or orphanage, he was held by the progenitor of all chakra. Kaguya fed him using resources she created through her abilities, manifesting sustenance from the chakra-rich environment of her dimension. She learned quickly, despite her centuries of imprisonment. Her Byakugan allowed her to monitor Naruto's health constantly, seeing his chakra network develop and the Nine Tails seal integrating with his system. She spoke to him frequently, though he could not understand words yet, telling him about chakra and the world and her own sons. Her voice lacked the warmth of most mothers, carrying instead an otherworldly quality, but there was genuine care in her actions. She changed him, bathed him in warm water she heated with chakra, and rocked him when he cried. Black Zetsu observed this with satisfaction, seeing his mother develop attachment to the child that would serve their long-term goals. As Naruto grew from infant to toddler, Kaguya's approach to parenting became clearer. She was not warm or affectionate in conventional ways. She did not smile often or use baby talk. Her expressions remained largely neutral, though her Byakugan would sometimes show warmth when she looked at Naruto. She was patient to an extraordinary degree, never showing frustration when Naruto made messes or cried for attention. She taught him to walk by creating ice paths that formed under his feet, catching him with chakra manipulation whenever he fell. She taught him to talk by naming everything in their environment with precise vocabulary, not simplified baby words. By age 2, Naruto was speaking in complete sentences, far more advanced than typical children because Kaguya treated him as capable of understanding complex concepts. She taught him about chakra before he could even mold it himself, explaining it as the life energy that connected all things, the power she had brought to the world by eating the God Tree's fruit. Naruto's personality developed very differently under Kaguya's influence. He did not experience the desperate need for attention that drove canon Naruto to pranks and loud behavior. Instead, he was naturally curious and observant, spending hours watching Kaguya manipulate ice and snow with her abilities. He was quiet more often, comfortable with silence, in a way canon Naruto never was. However, he was not emotionless or withdrawn. He smiled and laughed, especially when Kaguya would create elaborate ice sculptures for him or show him visions of the outside world through her Byakugan. He asked endless questions, which Kaguya answered with patience, teaching him about the history of chakra and the shinobi world. She told him the truth as she saw it, that she had come from the stars, eaten the divine fruit, birthed 2 sons who betrayed her, and watched humanity turn the gift of chakra into tools for war. She told him about the Sage of 6 Paths, his grandfather many generations removed, and how Hagoromo had spread chakra across the world without understanding the consequences. By age 3, Kaguya began teaching Naruto to mold chakra himself. Most children did not start this training until the academy at age 6 or later. However, Naruto was no ordinary child. He carried half of the 9 tails within him, giving him chakra reserves far beyond normal human levels even in early childhood. Additionally, his Uzumaki heritage meant he had the vitality and life force necessary to handle chakra training at a young age without damaging his system. Kaguya guided him through the basics, teaching him to feel the energy flowing through his body, to circulate it through his chakra network, and eventually to push it out through his tenketsu points. She did not teach him the hand seals that shinobi relied on. Those were crutches invented by humans who could not control chakra purely through will. Instead, she taught him direct chakra manipulation, the way she and other Akatsuki operated, molding chakra through intent and understanding rather than ritualized gestures. Naruto struggled at first. His chakra control was abysmal due to the Nine Tails constantly interfering with his system, leaking its own chakra into his network and disrupting his attempts at precise manipulation. This was the same problem Canon Naruto faced throughout his early career. However, Kaguya recognized the issue immediately with her Byakugan. She could see the seal on his stomach, see the Nine Tails chakra mingling with his own, see the constant flux in his system. She taught him to work with it rather than against it. She explained that the Nine Tails was part of him, a fragment of the 10 Tails that was itself born from her merger with the God Tree. The fox was family in a sense, and he should treat it as such. She encouraged him to communicate with the Nine Tails mentally, to enter his mindscape, and speak with it directly. This was something canon Naruto did not do successfully until he was 16 and fighting pain. In this timeline, he did it at age 4. Naruto's first encounter with the Nine Tails in his mindscape was terrifying. He found himself in a sewer-like space with enormous pipes and a massive cage. Behind the bars was the fox, its 9 tails swaying, its eyes filled with hatred and rage. The 9 tails, Kurama, roared at the child who dared approach its prison. It tried to intimidate him, sending killing intent washing over Naruto that would have broken most adults. However, Naruto did not run. Kaguya had prepared him for this, explaining that the 9 tails was angry because it had been enslaved by humans repeatedly, first by Mito Uzumaki, then by Kushina, then sealed into him by Minato. Naruto looked up at the tremendous beast and spoke with the honesty only a 4-year-old could muster. He said he was sorry the fox was trapped. He said Kaguya told him the 9 tails used to be part of something bigger and that it must be lonely being separated from its siblings. He said he would like to be friends if the fox would let him. Kurama was stunned into silence. In all its years as a tailed beast, enslaved by the Sage of Six Paths' sons and their descendants, no Jinchuriki had ever approached it with genuine sympathy. They saw it as a weapon or a monster, never as a sentient being with its own pain and history. This child, this tiny human who could barely mold chakra, offered friendship. Kurama did not accept immediately. The fox was too proud and too bitter for that. However, it stopped trying to kill Naruto with killing intent. Instead, it asked questions. Who was teaching him? How did he know about the 10 tails? Why was he not afraid? Naruto answered truthfully, explaining that Kaguya was raising him, that she told him stories about the old days, that she said fear was useless when you could talk instead. Over the following months and years, Naruto visited Kurama regularly in his mindscape. These conversations slowly built trust between them. Kurama began to see Naruto as different from other Jinchuriki, as someone who might actually understand what it meant to be treated as a monster rather than a person. By age 5, Naruto could access small amounts of Kurama's chakra with the 9 tails' reluctant cooperation. This was groundbreaking. Canon Naruto did not achieve cooperative chakra sharing with Kurama until after defeating Pain and earning the fox's respect through his actions. In this timeline, the foundation for that partnership was laid years earlier through Kaguya's guidance and Naruto's genuine compassion. The red chakra cloak would form around Naruto during training, just 1 tail's worth initially, giving him enhanced strength and speed. Kaguya observed this development with satisfaction. She knew that if Naruto could befriend the 9 tails completely, he would have access to tremendous power. More importantly, he would possess part of the 10 tails chakra willingly given rather than forcibly taken, which aligned with her ultimate goals. Kaguya's training methods were intense despite Naruto's young age. She believed in learning through experience rather than theory alone. She would have Naruto practice chakra control by walking on the walls of the Ice Palace, something most genin struggled to master. When he fell, she would catch him with her hair, manipulating it into strands that supported his weight. She taught him to sense chakra by having him identify Black Zetsu's location while blindfolded, developing his ability to perceive energy without relying on sight. She demonstrated her own techniques, showing him the Byakugan's power to see chakra networks and the Rinna Sharingan's ability to manipulate dimensions. She explained that these were gifts of her clan, the Otsutsuki, and that while he was not Otsutsuki by blood, the chakra flowing through him ultimately originated from her, making him family in a broader sense. She told him that one day he would need to reclaim the chakra that had been scattered across the world to restore balance and end the endless warfare humanity perpetuated. Naruto absorbed these lessons with a child's adaptability. He did not fully understand the implications of what Kaguya taught him about reclaiming chakra or her views on humanity. To him, she was simply his mother figure, the only parent he had ever known. He loved her in his own way, though her emotional distance meant their relationship lacked the warmth of typical parent-child bonds. He loved Black Zetsu too, viewing the strange plant-like being as something like an uncle or older brother. Black Zetsu played with him occasionally, creating games that were actually training exercises in disguise. Black Zetsu would hide in the shadows of the Ice Palace, teaching Naruto to detect presences even when he could not see them. Black Zetsu would tell him stories about the old days, about Kaguya's sons and the founding of Ninshu, though these stories were heavily biased toward Kaguya's perspective and painted Hagoromo as an ungrateful traitor rather than the benevolent sage of legend. The isolation of these first 5 years shaped Naruto profoundly. He had no peers, no other children to play with or compare himself to. His entire world consisted of Kaguya, Black Zetsu, and the Ice Dimension. He did not know about Konoha except through Kaguya's descriptions, which portrayed it as a place where humans fought over scraps of power and taught children to kill for their village's benefit. He did not know he was supposed to be the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the village's weapon against external threats. He knew only that he was Naruto, student of the Rabbit Goddess, bearer of the Nine Tails, and future inheritor of Kaguya's mission to restore balance to the world. His worldview was completely centered around Kaguya's teachings. Chakra was sacred, something to be respected and eventually reclaimed from those who misused it. The shinobi system was flawed, turning humans into weapons through their village structure and clan conflicts. True strength came from understanding chakra's nature and connecting with the tailed beasts rather than enslaving them. As Naruto approached his 6th birthday, Kaguya made a decision. Her student had progressed far beyond what normal children could achieve. He could mold chakra at a level equivalent to genin despite never attending an academy. He had basic taijutsu skills taught through spars with Black Zetsu. He could access Kurama's chakra in small amounts with the fox's permission. He understood chakra theory better than most jonin because Kaguya had taught him the fundamental truths rather than the simplified versions shinobi taught. However, he lacked real-world experience. He had never met another human besides Black Zetsu's manifestations. He had never fought anyone seriously. He had never seen how the shinobi world actually operated beyond Kaguya's descriptions. She decided it was time to change that. She would send Naruto into the world, specifically to Konoha, to observe and learn. Not yet to reclaim chakra or enact her plans, but simply to experience humanity and gather information. This decision came with risks. Once Naruto left the Ice Dimension, he would be exposed to the shinobi world that had been searching for him for years. However, Kaguya had prepared countermeasures. She taught Naruto to suppress his chakra signature completely, a skill that combined Otsutsuki techniques with his natural Uzumaki vitality. When properly suppressed, he would appear as an unremarkable child with average chakra levels, hiding both his enormous reserves and the Nine-Tails' presence. She gave him a story to tell if questioned. He would say his name was Naruto Uzumaki, that he was an orphan from a destroyed clan settlement, and that he wanted to become a shinobi to protect people. This story was close enough to truth that he could tell it convincingly while hiding his actual upbringing. She instructed him to enroll in Konoha's academy when he arrived, to learn their methods and observe their teachings, all while maintaining his cover. Naruto was nervous but excited about this mission. He had spent his entire life in the Ice Dimension, seeing the outside world only through Kaguya's demonstrations. Now he would actually experience it himself. Kaguya used Yomotsu Hirasaka to create a portal that would deposit him near Konoha's gates. She gave him final instructions before he left. He should observe rather than show his full abilities. He should make connections with others to understand human relationships and motivations. He should remember everything he learned about chakra and never lose sight of his true identity as her student. Most importantly, he should be careful, because if anyone discovered who he really was or who had trained him, it would create complications. Naruto promised to follow her guidance. Then, with Black Zetsu waving from the Ice Palace doorway and Kaguya's Byakugan watching him intently, 6-year-old Naruto stepped through the portal into a world he had never known, carrying secrets that would shake the shinobi world to its foundations if they were ever revealed. If you're blown away by how different this timeline is becoming, make sure to subscribe, because we're just getting started with this complete series reimagining. Moving on to the second saga of our What If timeline. Saga 2, The Hidden Student Among Shinobi. In the original timeline, Naruto's academy, years from age 6 to 12, were defined by isolation and struggle. He enrolled in the Ninja Academy around age 6, joining his generation, including Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and the others who would become known as the Rookie Nine. Academy life was brutal for Naruto. The other children's parents had warned them to stay away from him, though the children did not understand why. He sat alone in class, ate lunch alone, and trained alone. His academic performance was poor across the board. He failed the graduation exam twice before finally graduating at age 12 alongside his peers. His particular weakness was the clone jutsu, a basic technique that required precise chakra control. Because the Nine Tails constantly disrupted his chakra system, Naruto could never produce proper clones, only weak copies that flopped uselessly. His behavior during these years reflected his desperate need for attention. He pulled elaborate pranks throughout Konoha, painting the Hokage monument being his signature move. He disrupted classes constantly, seeking any form of acknowledgement even if it was punishment. He declared loudly to anyone who would listen that he would become Hokage one day, a claim that made most people laugh at him. The one person who eventually reached Naruto during these years was Iruka Umino, a Chunin instructor at the academy. Iruka had lost his parents in the Nine Tails attack when he was 11 years old. Initially, Iruka harbored resentment toward Naruto, seeing the Nine Tails when he looked at him. However, after a conversation with the third Hokage, Iruka recognized that he and Naruto shared similar pain. Both had acted out as children to gain attention after losing their parents. This realization allowed Iruka to see past the Nine Tails and connect with Naruto as a person. The turning point came on the night after Naruto failed his third graduation exam. A traitor named Mizuki manipulated Naruto into stealing the Scroll of Seals, then revealed to Naruto the truth about the Nine Tails sealed within him. Naruto was devastated by this revelation. Iruka found him and protected him from Mizuki's attack, taking a giant shuriken to the back to shield Naruto. Iruka then told Naruto that he acknowledged him and never saw him as the Nine Tails. Inspired by Iruka's faith, Naruto used the multiple shadow clone technique he had learned from the scroll to defeat Mizuki. Iruka gave Naruto his own forehead protector, graduating him from the academy despite his earlier failure. After graduation, Naruto was placed on Team 7 with Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno under the leadership of Kakashi Hatake. All new graduates were assigned to 3-person genin teams with a jonin instructor. Kakashi subjected them to the bell test, where the team had to steal 2 bells from him. The real purpose was to teach teamwork, something all 3 genin initially failed to understand. Naruto tried to fight Kakashi alone using his limited skills. Sasuke tried to fight alone, relying on his superior abilities. Sakura mostly watched without helping meaningfully. Kakashi easily defeated all 3 separately. However, when Kakashi later caught them sharing their lunch with Naruto, despite orders not to feed him, he recognized they understood teamwork and passed them. Team 7's early missions were all D-rank assignments like catching cats and weeding gardens. Naruto complained loudly about these boring tasks, until the third Hokage assigned them a C-rank mission to escort a bridge builder named Tazuna to the Land of Waves. This mission proved far more dangerous than expected when they encountered Zabuza Momochi and his companion Haku. The battles that followed forced Team 7 to work together seriously for the first time and marked their transformation from students into real shinobi. The What If timeline unfolds drastically differently from the moment Naruto arrives in Konoha at age 6. When he steps through Kaguya's portal near the village gates, he appears as an ordinary child with a backpack containing basic supplies Kaguya created for him. His chakra is completely suppressed using techniques Kaguya taught him, making him appear unremarkable to any sensor ninja. He wears simple civilian clothes rather than the orange jumpsuit canon Naruto favored. His demeanor is calm and observant rather than loud and attention-seeking. He approaches the village gates where 2 Chunin guards are stationed. When they ask his business, Naruto tells the prepared story. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. He is an orphan from a destroyed Uzumaki clan settlement outside the major villages, and he has come to Konoha seeking to become a shinobi like his ancestors. This story is plausible because the Uzumaki clan was indeed scattered and destroyed, with survivors spread across different regions. The guards accept this explanation and direct him to the Hokage Tower to register properly. The 3rd Hokage receives Naruto personally when he arrives at the tower. Hiruzen is immediately struck by the child's name and appearance. This boy has the same name as the 4th Hokage's lost son, and he bears a strong resemblance to both Minato and Kushina. However, Hiruzen knows this cannot be the real Naruto Uzumaki because that child vanished on the night of the Nine-Tails attack 6 years ago. The search for him had been extensive and turned up nothing. The most logical explanation is that this is simply another Uzumaki orphan whose parents coincidentally gave him the same name. Hiruzen asks Naruto about his background. Naruto explains that his settlement was attacked by bandits when he was very young, and he has been traveling and surviving alone since then. He learned basic reading and survival skills from other travelers. He has come to Konoha because he heard the Uzumaki clan had historical ties to this village, and he wants to learn to protect people, so what happened to his settlement never happens again. This reasoning sounds sincere and mature for a 6-year-old, which Hiruzen finds unusual. However, he attributes it to the child having experienced trauma and grown up quickly as orphans often do. Hiruzen arranges for Naruto to have an apartment and a monthly allowance, the standard support provided to orphans in Konoha. He enrolls Naruto in the Ninja Academy starting that semester. Naruto thanks him politely and leaves. As he walks through Konoha for the first time, he observes everything with the analytical mindset Kaguya instilled in him. He sees the Hokage monument, the various training grounds, the marketplace where civilians and shinobi mingle. He notices the hierarchical structure of the village, where shinobi are treated with respect, while civilians serve support roles. He sees the clan compounds with their proud symbols and thinks about how these families hoard bloodline abilities and clan techniques. Everything Kaguya told him about the shinobi system is confirmed by what he observes. The village operates as a military state where children are trained as weapons and sent on missions that benefit the village's interests. The clans maintain power through inherited abilities rather than individual merit. Chakra, which should belong to everyone equally as the world's energy, is instead treated as a tool for warfare and dominance. Naruto's first day at the academy sets the tone for his entire experience there. He arrives early and takes a seat near the middle of the classroom, not in the back where troublemakers sit, nor in the front where eager students compete for attention. When other children arrive, they glance at him curiously, but he does not engage actively. When Iruka begins the lesson, Naruto listens attentively and takes notes. The curriculum covers basic shinobi history, the founding of Konoha, the will of fire philosophy, and simple chakra theory. Naruto finds most of it simplistic compared to what Kaguya taught him. The academy version of chakra theory is extremely basic, explaining chakra as a combination of physical and spiritual energy that shinobi mold using hand seals. Kaguya had taught him that chakra is the fundamental energy of the world, originally concentrated in the god tree, spread to humanity through her after eating the fruit, and that hand seals are unnecessary crutches for those who lack true understanding. However, Naruto keeps these thoughts to himself and pretends the academy lessons are new information. His interactions with classmates develop slowly over the first weeks. He does not seek attention or make grand declarations like canon Naruto. Instead, he observes the social dynamics forming among his peers. Sasuke Uchiha sits alone near the window, radiating an aura of superiority and isolation. The other children whisper about him being from the prestigious Uchiha clan and having natural talent. Sakura, Haruno, and Ino Yamanaka compete for Sasuke's attention along with several other girls. The boys form their own groups based on clan affiliations and personal friendships. Naruto remains somewhat separate from all these groups. He is polite when others speak to him and will participate in group exercises when required, but he does not actively pursue friendships. This behavior strikes Iruka as unusual. Most 6-year-olds are either outgoing and social or extremely shy. Naruto seems neither. He appears self-contained and watchful in a way that reminds Iruka of how Anbu operatives observe their surroundings during missions. When practical training begins, Naruto's true capabilities become evident to those paying close attention. The academy starts with basic physical conditioning, teaching students proper stances and basic taijutsu forms. Naruto participates without standing out dramatically. His movements are economical and precise, showing good body control for a child his age. When Iruka demonstrates a kata, Naruto reproduces it accurately on the first attempt. When they practice throwing kunai and shuriken, Naruto's accuracy is above average though not exceptional. He deliberately misses some throws to avoid seeming too skilled. Kaguya had drilled into him the importance of observation and blending in. Showing his true abilities would draw unwanted scrutiny from Jonin instructors and potentially reveal that he has received advanced training from somewhere. The question of where an orphan traveling alone could have learned proper shinobi techniques would raise suspicions Naruto cannot afford. The most difficult aspect of academy life for Naruto is concealing his chakra control abilities. The academy teaches students to mold chakra starting in their second year, around age 7. This involves meditation exercises to feel chakra within the body, then learning to circulate it through the chakra network. For most students, this takes months of practice before they achieve consistent results. When the lessons begin, Naruto pretends to struggle initially. He sits in meditation position with his eyes closed, mimicking the concentration faces other students make. He asks Iruka questions about how chakra is supposed to feel, playing the role of a student genuinely learning for the first time. After a few weeks, he allows himself to succeed at the basic circulation exercise, timing his progress to match the faster students without being suspiciously quick. In reality, Naruto could perform far more advanced chakra manipulation on his first day. Kaguya had taught him direct chakra control without hand seals, tree walking, water walking, and even basic shape-shifting of chakra. He had been molding chakra since age 3, with guidance from the progenitor of chakra herself. The Nine-Tails' presence in Naruto becomes a fascinating variable in this timeline. Unlike canon Naruto, who was unaware of Kurama for years and suffered from the fox's chakra, disrupting his control, this Naruto maintains regular communication with the Nine-Tails through his mindscape. At night in his apartment, Naruto enters his mindscape to speak with Kurama. The Nine-Tails is intrigued by the situation. It remembers the night it was released from Kushina by Tobi, controlled against its will to attack Konoha, then sealed into this newborn child. When it woke in Naruto's seal, it expected years of isolation and gradually corrupting its Jinchuriki host with hatred as it had done with previous hosts. Instead, this child approached it with knowledge and understanding, raised by Kaguya herself. Kurama's feelings about Kaguya are complicated. She is the mother of the Sage of Six Paths, who originally created the tailed beasts by splitting the 10 tails. In a sense, she is an ancestor of all tailed beasts. However, she also represents the time before tailed beasts existed separately, when they were part of the 10 tails that she merged with. Naruto and Kurama's conversations during the academy years deepen their relationship significantly beyond what canon achieved until much later. Naruto tells Kurama about his days at the academy, describing the other children and the instruction. Kurama shares observations about the village from its unique perspective, able to sense malevolent intent and emotions through its chakra. Kurama warns Naruto when certain people are dangerous or deceptive based on their chakra signatures. This becomes particularly useful when Naruto encounters Danzo Shimura, an elder who visits the academy occasionally to observe students. Kurama's immediate reaction to Danzo's presence is visceral hatred. The fox tells Naruto that Danzo carries the scent of the Sharingan and something twisted in his chakra that he reminds Kurama of Tobi, who controlled it during the attack. Naruto files this information away, marking Danzo as someone to avoid and observe carefully. Additionally, Kurama actively helps Naruto control his chakra despite the disruption the Nine Tails typically causes. In canon, Kurama's chakra constantly leaked into Naruto's system and disrupted his control, making precise techniques like the clone jutsu nearly impossible. In this timeline, Kurama consciously minimizes this interference when Naruto is training or using techniques at the academy. The fox has come to see Naruto as something closer to a partner than a prison, and it recognizes that Naruto's development serves both their interests. Socially, Naruto's presence at the academy creates subtle ripples without the dramatic attention-seeking of canon. Some classmates become curious about the quiet Uzumaki boy who keeps to himself. Shikamaru Nara, inherently lazy and observant, notices that Naruto deliberately holds back during certain exercises. Shikamaru himself often does the same to avoid standing out, so he recognizes the pattern. He occasionally partners with Naruto during teamwork exercises and finds him surprisingly capable despite his apparent average performance. Hinata Hyuga notices Naruto for different reasons. In canon, she admired Naruto's loud determination and refusal to give up despite everyone hating him. In this timeline, she is drawn to his quiet confidence and the way he treats everyone with equal politeness, regardless of their clan status or abilities. Her Byakugan sometimes glimpses his chakra network during class, and she is amazed by how refined and controlled it appears for their age. She wants to talk to him more, but her shyness prevents her from approaching directly. Sasuke Uchiha pays little attention to Naruto initially. In canon, Naruto's loud challenges and obvious rivalry grab Sasuke's attention early. In this timeline, Naruto does not challenge Sasuke or declare himself a rival. He treats Sasuke the same as everyone else, with polite distance. This actually bothers Sasuke more than he would admit. He is used to other students either fawning over him for being an Uchiha prodigy or resenting him out of jealousy. Naruto's complete indifference is unusual. When they are paired for sparring exercises, Naruto fights Sasuke seriously, without excessive rivalry or admiration. He blocks Sasuke's attacks efficiently, counters appropriately, and accepts defeat when Sasuke's superior Uchiha techniques give him the advantage. After their matches, Naruto simply nods respectfully and moves on without dramatics. This measured response confuses Sasuke, who cannot understand Naruto's motivations. Does he not care about being stronger? Does he not feel challenged by Sasuke's abilities? The lack of reaction creates a strange dynamic where Sasuke finds himself more aware of Naruto than the reverse. The Uchiha massacre occurs when Naruto and his classmates are around age 7 to 8, still in their early academy years. One night, Itachi Uchiha kills the entire Uchiha clan except for his younger brother, Sasuke. The village goes into lockdown temporarily, and Anbu investigate the incident. When classes resume, Sasuke returns completely changed. His already aloof demeanor has transformed into cold hatred. He trains obsessively, speaks to no one unless necessary, and radiates an aura of barely controlled rage. The other students give him even more space than before, frightened by the intensity of his emotions and unsure how to approach someone who experienced such trauma. Naruto observes Sasuke's transformation with understanding that surprises even himself. Kaguya had taught him about loss and betrayal through her own experiences with her sons. She had explained how pain could drive people to extremes, how the loss of family could make someone willing to destroy the world for revenge. Watching Sasuke now, Naruto sees those same patterns emerging. He does not approach Sasuke directly because he recognizes that Sasuke is not ready for comfort or friendship. The Uchiha boy is trapped in his pain and will remain there until he chooses otherwise. Iruka's relationship with Naruto in this timeline lacks the deep emotional bond they formed in canon. In the original story, Iruka became a surrogate father figure to Naruto, connecting over their shared pain as orphans and Naruto's desperate need for acknowledgement. In this timeline, Naruto does not display that desperate need. He is respectful to Iruka and attentive in class, but he does not seek Iruka's approval specifically. Iruka finds this both relieving and slightly concerning. Relieving because he does not have to deal with constant pranks and disruptions from this particular student. Concerning because he recognizes that a child who seems this self-sufficient at such a young age has probably experienced significant trauma that taught him to rely only on himself. Iruka tries several times to reach out to Naruto with offers of ramen or casual conversation, but Naruto politely deflects without being rude. He thanks Iruka for the offers, but always has somewhere to be or something to do. This measured distance prevents Iruka from discovering the truth about who is really raising Naruto. Meanwhile, Kaguya maintains contact with Naruto through the portal system she can create using Yomotsu Hirasaka. Every few weeks, Naruto returns to the Ice Dimension for additional training and to report what he has learned. These sessions continue his education far beyond academy standards. Kaguya teaches him about the history of the Akatsuki clan, about their purpose traveling between worlds and harvesting divine trees. She teaches him more about her dimensional abilities, explaining how she can shift between 6 different dimensions, each with unique properties. She demonstrates the all-killing Ash Bones technique, though she does not allow him to practice it, given its lethal nature. She teaches him about the Byakugan and Sharingan, explaining that these dojutsu are degraded versions of the Rinna Sharingan she possesses, passed down through her son's bloodlines. She teaches him to recognize and counter genjutsu by disrupting his own chakra flow, a skill that will prove valuable later. Most importantly, she continues teaching him to connect deeper with Kurama, explaining that if he can achieve true cooperation with the Nine Tails, he will possess power that rivals any shinobi in the current era. The graduation exam approaches when Naruto and his classmates reach age 12. The exam tests 3 basic techniques: the clone jutsu, the transformation jutsu, and the substitution jutsu. In canon, Naruto failed the exam twice because he could not perform the clone jutsu due to his massive chakra reserves and poor control, making regular clones impossible. In this timeline, Naruto could easily perform all 3 techniques perfectly. He has been performing transformation and substitution casually since age 4 under Kaguya's instruction. The clone jutsu is the only one that presents any challenge because of the Nine Tails' interference, but even this is manageable with Kurama's cooperation. However, Naruto deliberately fails his first graduation attempt. He performs the transformation and substitution correctly, then produces only 2 weak clones instead of the required 3 for the clone jutsu. Iruka marks him as failed and tells him to try again next time. Naruto accepts this with quiet disappointment, playing the role of a student who tried his best but fell short. His reasoning for this deliberate failure is strategic. He wants to graduate with his generation, specifically with Sasuke and the others who are expected to pass. If he graduated a year early or late, he would be placed on a different team and miss the opportunity to observe Sasuke's development, which Kaguya has instructed him to monitor closely given Sasuke's Sharingan heritage. The second graduation attempt weeks later proceeds normally. This time Naruto passes the exam with average scores across all 3 techniques. He produces 3 adequate clones, demonstrates a proper transformation into Iruka, and performs a successful substitution. He receives his forehead protector and officially becomes a genin at age 12 alongside Sasuke, Sakura, and the rest of the Rookie 9. There is no dramatic incident with Mizuki stealing the Scroll of Seals because this Naruto does not need external validation or special techniques to feel worthy. He knows his true capabilities and knows he is passing the exam only as a formality to continue his infiltration of the shinobi system. The forehead protector he receives means nothing spiritually to him, though he ties it properly around his forehead and wears it as his cover identity requires. Team assignments are announced the next day. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura are placed on Team 7 under Jonin instructor Kakashi Hatake. The team composition is identical to canon because the 3rd Hokage and his advisors made their decisions based on the same factors. Sasuke needs teammates who can balance his prodigious talents and antisocial behavior. Sakura has the best academic scores among the kunoichi and would benefit from field experience with stronger teammates. Naruto's placement is based on his middling but acceptable performance across all areas, making him a balanced 3rd member. The real reason the 3rd Hokage approves this specific team is the same as canon. He suspects Naruto might be connected to the 4th Hokage's lost son somehow, and wants him under the supervision of Kakashi, Minato's former student, who can observe him closely. When Team 7 meets at the designated training ground, the dynamics are immediately different from canon. Sakura arrives first, nervous about meeting her teammates. Sasuke arrives exactly on time and positions himself away from her. Naruto arrives shortly after and takes a seat separate from both of them, observing them quietly. There is no dramatic love triangle forming because this Naruto has no interest in competing for Sakura's attention, and Sakura herself is confused by Naruto's complete indifference to the social dynamics. She expected him to either fawn over her like other boys or try to rival Sasuke aggressively. His measured politeness to both of them is unexpected. Kakashi arrives 3 hours late exactly as in canon, testing their patience. He introduces himself casually and asks them to share their likes, dislikes, dreams, and hobbies. Sakura goes first, gushing about Sasuke and her dreams of being with him. Sasuke goes second, stating coldly that he has no likes, many dislikes, and his dream is to revive his clan and kill a certain man, obviously referring to Itachi. When it is Naruto's turn, he speaks carefully, maintaining his cover story. He says he likes learning new things and the few people who have shown him kindness. He dislikes people who harm others for selfish reasons and those who abuse power. His dream is to become strong enough to protect people who cannot protect themselves and to understand the true nature of chakra. Kakashi pays close attention to Naruto's words. The dream about understanding chakra's true nature is unusually philosophical for a fresh genin. Most students at this age dream of rank advancement, recognition, or specific achievements. Naruto's stated goal suggests deeper thinking than his academy performance indicated. Kakashi files this observation away for later consideration. The next day, Kakashi administers the bell test at the third training ground. He explains that only those who take a bell from him will pass and become official genin, with the implication that at least one of them will fail and return to the academy. The test begins and immediately reveals the team's dysfunctional dynamics. Sasuke attacks Kakashi directly using taijutsu combinations and basic ninjutsu, trying to overwhelm him through superior Uchiha techniques. Sakura hides initially, paralyzed by the gap between their abilities and Kakashi's obvious Jonin-level skills. Naruto observes from concealment for several minutes, analyzing Kakashi's fighting style and noting that Kakashi is deliberately holding back massively. Then Naruto engages using basic academy-level tactics, throwing kunai from a distance, and attempting simple flanking maneuvers. Kakashi easily counters everything they attempt. He catches Sasuke with genjutsu and buries him up to his neck in dirt. He criticizes Sakura for not participating meaningfully. He counters Naruto's attacks casually while reading his Icha Icha novel, barely paying attention to him. The test continues for 2 hours until all 3 genin are exhausted and have failed to acquire any bells. Kakashi lectures them about teamwork, explaining that the test was designed to require cooperation and that their individual attempts were doomed from the start. He ties Naruto to a training post and forbids Sasuke and Sakura from feeding him, then leaves to observe their reactions from hiding. This moment in canon was where Team 7 finally bonded, with Sasuke and Sakura feeding Naruto despite orders, leading Kakashi to pass them for putting teammates above rules. In this timeline, the same outcome occurs through slightly different means. Sasuke feeds Naruto not out of particular care, but out of practical logic that they need all 3 members at full strength for any future attempts. Sakura reluctantly agrees after Sasuke initiates. Naruto accepts the food quietly, acknowledging their tactical reasoning. When Kakashi reappears and confronts them about disobeying orders, Sasuke argues coldly that success requires using all available resources, including teammates. Kakashi accepts this logic and passes them, explaining that those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. Team 7 is official. Their first month involves only D-rank missions as in canon, walking dogs, finding lost cats, weeding gardens, and other menial tasks that make all 3 genin restless. Naruto endures these missions without complaint, understanding they serve a purpose in teaching basics and building tolerance for tedious aspects of shinobi work. Sasuke grows increasingly frustrated, believing such missions are beneath his abilities and waste time he could spend training to kill Itachi. Sakura vacillates between enjoying time near Sasuke and feeling disappointed that shinobi work is so mundane. After several weeks, they request a higher-ranked mission during a standard report to the 3rd Hokage. Hiruzen agrees and assigns them escort duty to the Land of Waves, protecting a bridge builder named Tazuna. This C-rank mission is supposed to involve no combat against other shinobi, just protection from bandits during the journey. As they depart from Konoha, heading toward the Land of Waves, Naruto already knows from his enhanced sensory skills and Kurama's warnings that they are being followed by hostile chakra signatures. The mission will not be nearly as simple as described, and Team 7 is about to face their first true test as shinobi, where lives hang in the balance. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the 3rd saga of our What If timeline. Saga 3, Waves of Change. In the original timeline, the Land of Waves mission became Team 7's defining experience that transformed them from academy graduates into real shinobi. The mission began as a simple C-rank escort for bridge builder Tsunade to the Land of Waves. However, Tsunade had lied about the mission details because his country was too poor to afford proper protection. A criminal businessman named Gato had taken control of the Land of Waves shipping industry and ruled through fear and violence. Tsunade wanted to build a bridge that would free his country from Gato's control, making him a target for assassination. Shortly after leaving Konoha, Team 7 encountered the Demon Brothers, two Chunin mercenaries named Gozu and Meizu, who worked for Zabuza Momochi. The brothers used water release to hide in a puddle on a sunny day, an obvious trap that Kakashi noticed immediately. When they attacked, they wrapped Kakashi in their poisoned chain and seemingly tore him apart. Naruto froze in fear, seeing his sensei killed. The brothers then targeted Naruto next, but Sasuke intervened, using his superior reflexes to pin their chain to a tree with kunai and shuriken. The brothers separated and attacked again, but Kakashi revealed himself alive, having used substitution jutsu. He easily captured both brothers and tied them to a tree. After interrogating the Demon Brothers, Kakashi confronted Tsunade about lying regarding the mission rank. Tsunade confessed about Gato and his country's poverty. Despite the mission being far above Genin level, Team 7 decided to continue protecting Tsunade. When they reached the Land of Waves by boat, they met Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist, and a Jonin-level missing nin. Zabuza was far beyond anything Team 7 could handle. Kakashi revealed his Sharingan to fight Zabuza seriously. The battle demonstrated the massive gap between Jonin and Genin abilities. Zabuza used the hidden mist technique to obscure vision, employed water clone tactics, and eventually trapped Kakashi in a water prison while sending a water clone to kill Team 7 and Tsunade. Faced with this impossible situation, Naruto and Sasuke worked together for the first time. Sasuke used the demon windmill technique, throwing one shuriken in the shadow of another, while Naruto transformed into the second shuriken using transformation jutsu. This teamwork forced Zabuza to release the water prison to defend himself. Once freed, Kakashi gained the advantage, using his Sharingan to copy Zabuza's techniques and defeat him. Before Kakashi could finish Zabuza, a masked hunter nin named Haku appeared and seemingly killed Zabuza with senbon needles to the neck. However, Kakashi suspected Zabuza was still alive because hunter nin typically disposed of bodies immediately rather than taking them elsewhere. The use of senbon, which were rarely fatal, suggested Haku had put Zabuza in a death-like state to fake his death. With Zabuza likely to return, Kakashi taught Team 7 tree climbing practice to improve their chakra control. This training involved focusing chakra to the feet and walking up trees without hands. Naruto and Sasuke both struggled initially due to different reasons. Naruto had poor control because of the Nine Tails disrupting his chakra system. Sasuke had the opposite problem, being naturally talented but lacking the enormous reserves needed to compensate for mistakes. Sakura mastered the technique first due to her excellent chakra control, though she lacked the combat abilities of her teammates. During the week of training, Naruto met Haku in the forest without recognizing him as their enemy. They talked about protecting precious people, and Haku explained that people become truly strong when they have someone important to protect. This conversation impacted Naruto's developing philosophy about bonds and protection. When Zabuza returned with Haku for a second confrontation, the battle took place on the bridge Tsunade was building. Zabuza once again engaged Kakashi, while Haku fought Sasuke and eventually Naruto. Haku used his Ice Release Kekkei Genkai to create the demonic mirroring ice crystals technique, trapping Sasuke in a dome of ice mirrors. From these mirrors, Haku moved at incredible speed and bombarded Sasuke with senbon needles. When Naruto arrived and entered the ice dome to help Sasuke, both boys were trapped. The situation seemed hopeless until Sasuke awakened his Sharingan during the battle, finally able to track Haku's movements. To protect Naruto from a killing blow, Sasuke threw himself in front of the senbon attack, appearing to die from the wounds. This apparent death triggered Naruto's first use of the Nine Tails chakra. The red chakra cloak formed around him with one tail of power, giving him tremendous strength and speed that allowed him to destroy Haku's ice mirrors and beat Haku severely. When Haku's mask broke and Naruto recognized him, he hesitated to finish him. Haku used this moment to intercept Kakashi's lightning blade that was aimed at Zabuza, sacrificing himself to protect the person he cared about most. The aftermath of Haku's death revealed the depth of Zabuza and Haku's bond. Naruto confronted Zabuza about Haku's sacrifice, making Zabuza realize he truly did care about Haku, beyond seeing him as merely a tool. Before Zabuza could process this properly, Gato arrived with an army of thugs and revealed he never intended to pay Zabuza, planning instead to kill the weakened ninja and take his sword. Enraged by this betrayal and inspired by Naruto's words about Haku's devotion, Zabuza took Naruto's kunai in his teeth and charged through Gato's thugs despite being severely injured and nearly dead. He killed Gato before collapsing next to Haku's body. As he died, Zabuza asked Kakashi if he could be placed beside Haku so he could be with him one more time. Team 7 buried both Zabuza and Haku beside the sea. The people of the Land of Waves, inspired by Team 7's bravery, finally stood up to Gato's remaining forces and drove them out. Tsunade completed his bridge and named it the Great Naruto Bridge in honor of the ninja who gave his country hope. Team 7 returned to Konoha fundamentally changed, having witnessed death, formed deeper bonds, and understood the harsh realities of the shinobi world. The what-if timeline begins with Team 7's journey from Konoha to the Land of Waves. Unlike canon Naruto, who was oblivious to danger, this Naruto notices the puddle immediately. His sensory training under Kaguya and the enhanced awareness provided by Kurama's chakra perception make the trap obvious. The puddle appears on a sunny day on a dirt path where no rain has fallen recently. Additionally, Kurama warns Naruto mentally that there are 2 hostile chakra signatures hiding in the water ahead. Naruto says nothing outwardly, maintaining his cover as an average genin. He observes that Kakashi's posture has changed slightly, indicating their sensei also noticed the trap and is allowing it to proceed to test his students. Naruto prepares himself mentally, reviewing the techniques Kaguya taught him, while ensuring his chakra suppression remains active. He cannot reveal his true capabilities unless absolutely necessary, but he also cannot allow Tsunade to die, since that would mean mission failure. When the demon brothers burst from the puddle and seemingly kill Kakashi with their chain, Naruto does not freeze like his canon counterpart. His expression shows calculated observation rather than panic. He recognizes the substitution technique immediately, having practiced similar methods with Black Zetsu for years. When the brothers charge toward him with their poisoned chain, Naruto moves with economy of motion that seems like desperate dodging but is actually precise evasion. He leaps backward exactly far enough to avoid the chain's reach while throwing 3 kunai that force the brothers to adjust their trajectory. Sasuke, seeing Naruto engage, joins the fight using his demon windmill technique to pin their chain. The brothers separate as in canon, but this time they face different opponents. Naruto stands between Meizu and Tsunade with a kunai held in proper defensive stance. His blue eyes are calm and focused rather than frightened. Meizu charges forward, intending to eliminate this genin quickly. Naruto blocks the poisoned claw with his kunai at an angle that redirects the force away from him, a defensive technique Kaguya drilled into him repeatedly. He counters with a kick aimed at Meizu's knee, forcing the Chunin to hop back. Before the fight can escalate further, Kakashi appears and subdues both demon brothers exactly as in canon. He ties them to a tree and confronts Tsunade about the mission details. The conversation proceeds identically with Tsunade confessing about Gato and the Land of Waves' desperate poverty. Kakashi presents the choice to Team 7 about whether to continue this dangerous mission. Sasuke agrees immediately because he sees it as training to become strong enough to kill Itachi. Sakura nervously agrees to follow Sasuke. When Kakashi asks Naruto, the blonde genin looks at Tsunade for a long moment, seemingly evaluating the old man's sincerity. Naruto then nods and says they should help people who genuinely need protection, even if it means extra danger. This mature reasoning surprises Kakashi slightly. Most genin Naruto's age would either refuse out of fear or agree out of reckless bravado. Naruto's calm acceptance of increased risk while acknowledging the moral reason for helping is unusual for a 12-year-old. The team proceeds to the Land of Waves by boat. When they meet Tsunade's family, including his daughter Tsunami and grandson Inari, Naruto observes the dynamics quietly. Inari is deeply pessimistic, believing heroes do not exist because Gato killed his stepfather Kaiza. In canon, Naruto argued loudly with Inari about this. In this timeline, Naruto simply listens to Inari's bitter words without arguing. Later that evening, when Inari leaves the dinner table crying, Naruto follows him outside. He finds Inari sitting alone, looking at the ocean. Naruto sits nearby and waits silently. Eventually, Inari asks angrily why Naruto is there. Naruto responds that he recognizes pain when he sees it. He tells Inari that he understands losing someone important, that he grew up without family just like Inari lost Kaiza. However, Naruto says that pain should not make you give up on hope. Instead, pain should remind you why protection matters and why you must become strong enough to protect what remains. This conversation is gentler and more mature than canon Naruto's aggressive challenges, yet it still plants a seed in Inari's heart about finding his own courage. When Zabuza appears at the bridge to ambush Team 7 and Tazuna, the initial confrontation proceeds similarly to canon. Zabuza's massive executioner blade spins through the mist and embeds in a tree. He stands atop it, radiating killing intent that makes Sakura freeze in terror. Kakashi unveils his Sharingan and tells Team 7 to protect Tazuna while he engages Zabuza. The battle between the two Jonin is a display of high-level water release techniques and tactical maneuvering. Zabuza uses hidden mist to obscure vision and create water clones. Kakashi counters, using the Sharingan to predict movements and copy techniques. Eventually, Zabuza traps Kakashi in the water prison jutsu, a technique requiring one hand to maintain contact with the water sphere containing the prisoner. With Kakashi immobilized, Zabuza sends a water clone to eliminate Team 7. The clone advances on the three genin with killing intent thick enough to make them struggle to breathe. Sakura is paralyzed by fear. Sasuke grits his teeth and prepares to fight despite knowing he is outmatched. Naruto evaluates the situation rapidly. The water clone is significantly weaker than the real Zabuza, but still far beyond genin capabilities. However, the real Zabuza is occupied maintaining the water prison and cannot assist his clone if it encounters problems. Naruto forms a single-hand seal and creates 5 shadow clones, a number that seems desperate but manageable for a genin with decent chakra reserves. The clones spread out and attack the water clone from multiple angles, using basic academy taijutsu and kunai throws. The water clone easily defeats 4 of them, but the 5th clone throws a kunai that deliberately misses Zabuza by several feet. The real Naruto, concealed among the clones, had already substituted places with one of them using a tactic Kaguya taught him. When the water clone turns to engage Sasuke, Naruto emerges from hiding and throws a smoke bomb directly at the real Zabuza's position near the water prison. The smoke obscures vision just enough that Zabuza reflexively moves his hand slightly to defend his face. This tiny motion breaks the water prison for a fraction of a second, just enough for Kakashi to use substitution to escape. Once freed, Kakashi immediately presses the attack. Zabuza is forced to recall his water clone and engage Kakashi directly. The battle shifts in Kakashi's favor as the Sharingan predicts Zabuza's movements and copies his jutsu in real time. When Kakashi uses Zabuza's own water dragon jutsu against him, Zabuza is overwhelmed and defeated. As Kakashi prepares the finishing blow, Haku appears as in canon and seemingly kills Zabuza with Senbon to the neck before taking the body away under the guise of being a hunter nin. Kakashi collapses from chakra exhaustion after overusing the Sharingan. Team 7 carries him back to Tazuna's house, where he remains bedridden for recovery. Kakashi explains to his students that he suspects Zabuza is still alive based on the Senbon placement and the hunter nin's behavior. To prepare for Zabuza's inevitable return, Kakashi teaches them tree climbing practice to improve chakra control. When Kakashi demonstrates by walking up a tree on his crutches, Sasuke and Sakura are amazed. Naruto feigns similar surprise, though he has been able to tree walk since age 5 under Kaguya's instruction. The exercise begins with all 3 genin attempting to walk up their assigned trees. Sakura succeeds on her second attempt, her naturally excellent control allowing her to adjust the chakra flow to her feet precisely. Sasuke makes it about halfway up before the bark cracks under too much chakra and he falls. He tries repeatedly with growing frustration. Naruto deliberately fails his first several attempts, making it look like he struggles to find the right chakra amount. He uses too little chakra and slides down, then too much chakra and blasts away from the tree. After about a dozen attempts, he succeeds in walking up to the top of his tree and marks it with his kunai. Kakashi praises him for good progress and tells him to continue practicing to make it consistent. Over the following days of training, Naruto maintains the appearance of steady but unremarkable improvement. He practices tree walking with occasional failures to seem natural. He spends time helping Sakura with throwing techniques since she expressed interest in becoming more combat capable. He observes Sasuke's growing frustration as the Uchiha pushes himself to exhaustion every day. In canon, Sakura offered to help Sasuke, but he refused her pridefully. In this timeline, when she offers, Naruto suggests that accepting help shows wisdom rather than weakness. Sasuke reluctantly accepts their advice about chakra control methods, and his progress accelerates. This small change creates slightly less tension between the team members. During one training session, Naruto encounters Haku in the forest just as in canon. Haku is gathering herbs in civilian clothes, and they talk without Naruto recognizing him as the hunter Nin. However, the conversation takes a different tone in this timeline. When Haku asks if Naruto has someone precious to protect, Naruto considers the question carefully before answering. He says he has someone who raised him and taught him that chakra connects all living things. He says that person showed him both kindness and great loneliness, and that he wants to understand both. Haku finds this answer philosophical beyond typical genin concerns. They discuss the nature of strength, with Haku explaining that people become truly strong when protecting someone important. Naruto responds that he thinks strength also comes from understanding pain and choosing not to inflict it on others needlessly. This perspective surprises Haku, who has lived his entire life believing his only value lies in being useful as a tool for Zabuza. Their conversation is interrupted when both sense someone approaching. Haku departs quickly, telling Naruto they may meet again soon. When Zabuza returns for the second confrontation at the bridge, Team 7 faces him along with Haku. The battle formation mirrors canon initially. Zabuza engages Kakashi using the hidden mist technique to counter the Sharingan. Haku creates his demonic mirroring ice crystals to trap Sasuke in a dome of ice mirrors. When Naruto arrives after dealing with thugs at Tezuna's house, he recognizes Haku's voice from their earlier meeting. Understanding now that Haku is Zabuza's companion, Naruto approaches the ice dome cautiously. Inside, Sasuke is being bombarded with senbon needles from all angles. Haku moves between the mirrors at incredible speed, too fast for normal eyes to follow. Sasuke has multiple senbon embedded in his arms and legs, the wounds carefully placed to cause pain and limit movement without killing immediately. When Naruto calls out asking to enter, Sasuke yells at him to stay outside and attack the mirrors from there. Naruto appears to ignore this advice and enters the ice dome anyway. However, unlike canon where this was reckless foolishness, this Naruto enters with purpose. Inside the ice prison, Naruto creates 3 shadow clones and has them spread to different positions around the dome's interior. Haku continues his assault, throwing senbon at both boys from multiple mirror angles. Naruto and his clones move constantly, making them harder targets while trying to destroy mirrors with kunai and chakra-enhanced strikes. Nothing works. The ice is too strong and Haku is too fast. Sasuke's Sharingan suddenly activates from the stress and combat pressure, his eyes turning red with one tomoe in each eye. Now able to track Haku's movements between mirrors, Sasuke warns Naruto when attacks are coming. The two boys work together more effectively with Sasuke calling out attack patterns and Naruto using shadow clones to shield vulnerable positions. However, they are still losing. Haku is simply too experienced and skilled. When Haku prepares a killing strike aimed at Naruto, Sasuke does exactly what he did in canon. He throws himself in front of Naruto and takes the full barrage of senbon needles to his torso. Sasuke collapses with blood spreading across his shirt. Naruto catches him and checks for vital signs. Sasuke is alive but critically injured, the senbon having deliberately missed vital organs but still causing severe damage. What happens next diverges completely from canon. In the original timeline, Naruto believed Sasuke was dead, and the Nine-Tails chakra erupted violently with one tail, turning Naruto into a berserker who nearly killed Haku. In this timeline, Naruto knows Sasuke is alive and controls his response. He feels anger at seeing his teammate hurt. He feels the Nine-Tails chakra stirring in response to his emotions, offering him power to destroy the enemy. However, Kaguya's training and his relationship with Kurama allow him to use that power differently. Naruto accepts Kurama's chakra deliberately, rather than letting it consume him. The red chakra cloak forms around him with one tail, but his eyes remain blue and aware rather than turning feral. He moves with the enhanced speed the Nine-Tails chakra provides, destroying ice mirrors with chakra-empowered strikes. Haku is forced on the defensive, unable to maintain the ice prison while dodging attacks. The dome shatters and the battle spills out onto the bridge. Naruto confronts Haku directly, the red chakra cloak swirling around him, but his expression controlled and focused. Haku recognizes this is the boy he spoke with in the forest. He understands now that Naruto has someone precious he is protecting, just like Haku protects Zabuza. The fight between chakra-enhanced Naruto and Haku proceeds with both showing their full abilities. Haku creates ice needles and throws them in waves. Naruto dodges using the Nine Tails' enhanced reflexes and counters with Shadow Clone assaults. They trade blows across the bridge, while Kakashi and Zabuza's battle rages nearby. Eventually, Kakashi gains the upper hand against Zabuza and prepares his lightning blade for a finishing strike. Haku senses this through the mist and does exactly what he did in canon. He uses his speed to intercept the lightning blade, choosing to die, protecting Zabuza. The impact pierces through Haku's chest. Kakashi pulls back his hand in shock, not having intended to kill a child. Haku collapses, mortally wounded. Naruto rushes over, the Nine Tails chakra cloak dissipating as his anger fades into something more complex. He looks at Haku and understands now what Haku meant about becoming strong for someone important. Haku used his strength to protect Zabuza until the very end. Zabuza is frozen in shock, the mist clearing as he loses concentration on the technique. He stares at Haku's fallen body. Naruto speaks to Zabuza, telling him that Haku's sacrifice means Haku cared about him far beyond being just a tool. Naruto says that kind of devotion cannot exist without real bonds between people. Zabuza struggles with this, having spent years believing emotional attachments were weakness, and that shinobi were merely weapons to be used. Before Zabuza can fully process Naruto's words, Gato arrives with his army of thugs. The betrayal plays out identically to canon. Gato reveals he never intended to pay Zabuza and insults Haku's body, kicking it disrespectfully. This triggers Zabuza's realization that Naruto was right. Haku mattered to him. Their bond was real. Enraged, Zabuza takes Naruto's kunai and charges through Gato's forces despite being exhausted and injured. He kills Gato before collapsing near Haku. As Zabuza lies dying, he asks Kakashi if he will see Haku in the afterlife. Kakashi gently tells him that bonds like theirs transcend death. Zabuza dies with a peaceful expression, finally understanding what Haku meant to him. Team 7 buries Zabuza and Haku beside the sea as in canon. The people of the Land of Waves, inspired by witnessing Team 7's courage and sacrifice, rally together to drive out Gato's remaining forces. Tazuna completes his bridge and names it the Great Naruto Bridge. However, in this timeline, the naming carries slightly different weight. The bridge is named not for a loud ninja who constantly sought acknowledgement, but for a young shinobi who showed both strength and understanding, who used the Nine Tails power with control rather than letting it control him, and who taught both a dying missing nin and a young boy about the value of bonds and protection. When Team 7 returns to Konoha, Kakashi submits his mission report to the third Hokage. The report details Team 7's performance, including their encounter with the Demon Brothers, the battles with Zabuza and Haku, and the mission's successful completion. Kakashi notes in his report that Naruto displayed unusual maturity and chakra control for a fresh genin. The smoke bomb tactic that freed Kakashi from the water prison showed tactical thinking beyond typical academy training. Additionally, Naruto managed to access some form of red chakra during the battle with Haku, chakra that felt similar to descriptions of the Nine Tails power, though Kakashi cannot be certain. Most concerning is that Naruto seemed to use this power with remarkable control rather than going berserk as would be expected from someone with a tailed beast. Hiruzen reads this report with deep interest. The description of red chakra makes him wonder if this Naruto Uzumaki, who appeared 6 years ago, might somehow be connected to the fourth Hokage's lost son. The timing is impossible since that child vanished as a newborn, but the surname and appearance are too similar to be complete coincidence. Hiruzen decides to observe Naruto more closely going forward. For Naruto himself, the Land of Waves mission provided valuable data about the shinobi system. He witnessed how missing nin operate outside village authority, how criminals like Gato exploit power vacuums in weak countries, and how ordinary people suffer when they lack protection. He confirmed that Jonin-level combat operates at a scale far beyond genin abilities, with techniques like the water prison and lightning blade representing considerable power. He tested his own capabilities in real combat against opponents with killing intent, learning how his Kaguya-trained skills translate to actual missions. Most importantly, he experienced genuine bonds forming with his teammates and saw how those bonds motivated people to extreme sacrifice through Zabuza and Haku's example. When he returns to the ice dimension for his next training session with Kaguya, he reports everything he learned. Kaguya listens to his description of the mission with her usual neutral expression. When he mentions Haku's ice release Kekkei Genkai, she explains that this bloodline likely derives from manipulating water and wind chakra natures simultaneously, a technique that requires precise control. When he describes the bonds between Zabuza and Haku, she remains silent for a long moment before saying that bonds can be both strength and weakness depending on how they are used. She tells him to continue observing the shinobi world and gathering information. Soon his next major test will come when Konoha holds the Chunin exams, an event that will bring shinobi from multiple villages together and provide opportunities to observe many different abilities and techniques. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the fourth saga of our What If timeline. Saga 4. The Selection of Strength. In the original timeline, the Chunin exams marked a turning point for Naruto and his generation. Shortly after returning from the Land of Waves, Kakashi nominated Team 7 for the Chunin exams despite their recent graduation. The exams were held twice yearly in Konoha and drew genin from multiple villages to compete for promotion to Chunin rank. The first stage was a written test proctored by Ibiki Morino, Konoha's interrogation specialist. The test contained 9 extremely difficult questions that genin were expected to gather answers for through cheating using their ninja skills without getting caught. Naruto, who did not realize this and knew none of the answers, suffered tremendous anxiety, believing he would fail his entire team. Other students used various techniques to cheat. Sasuke copied answers using his Sharingan. Sakura answered all questions correctly through her own intelligence. The 10th question was a psychological test where students could either quit before hearing it or risk being barred from ever taking the exams again if they answered wrong. Naruto's refusal to give up despite knowing he might fail forever demonstrated the resolve needed for Chunin, and everyone remaining passed. The second stage took place in the Forest of Death, a dangerous training ground full of deadly wildlife. Teams were given either a Heaven or Earth scroll and had 5 days to reach a tower in the forest center with both scroll types. This forced teams to fight each other for scrolls while surviving the forest's dangers. During this stage, Team 7 encountered Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin and a former student of the 3rd Hokage who had become an S-rank missing nin. Orochimaru disguised himself as a genin from Kusagakure and separated Team 7 to test Sasuke. He unleashed killing intent so powerful that Sasuke froze in terror, unable to move or fight. Naruto arrived and fought Orochimaru fearlessly despite the massive power gap, even stopping one of Orochimaru's giant summoned snakes using the Nine Tails chakra. This inspired Sasuke to overcome his fear. Sasuke attacked Orochimaru using fire release techniques and his Sharingan. Impressed by Sasuke's potential, Orochimaru placed the cursed seal of heaven on Sasuke's neck before leaving. The seal was designed to corrupt Sasuke's mind over time and make him seek Orochimaru for power. While Sasuke and Naruto were unconscious, Sakura protected them from Team Dosu, 3 sound ninja sent by Orochimaru to test Sasuke's cursed seal. When Sasuke awoke with the seal active, he displayed terrifying power and sadistic violence before Sakura stopped him by hugging him and begging him to return to normal. Team 7 eventually obtained both scrolls and reached the tower. Because more teams passed the second stage than expected, preliminary matches were held to reduce numbers before the final round. These one-on-one battles showcased various genin abilities and created memorable matchups. Sasuke fought Yoroi and won using the lion combo technique he copied from Rock Lee. Naruto faced Kiba Inuzuka and his dog Akamaru, winning through clever tactics, including using transformation jutsu to trick them. Neji Hyuga fought his cousin Hinata and won brutally despite her determination, nearly killing her before Jonin intervened. Rock Lee fought Gaara of the Sand and lost devastatingly despite using the forbidden technique Hidden Lotus. Gaara's absolute defense and sadistic nature were revealed during this match. Shikamaru defeated Kin using his shadow possession. The preliminaries established power dynamics and rivalries that would continue throughout the series. A month of training followed before the finals, where Genin would fight before audiences, including feudal lords and potential clients. Kakashi trained Sasuke personally, teaching him the Chidori lightning technique. Jiraiya began training Naruto, though their progress was limited initially. The finals would be interrupted by Orochimaru's invasion of Konoha, leading to the third Hokage's death. But these events set the stage for everything that followed in Part 1. The what-if timeline begins when Kakashi nominates Team 7 for the Chunin exams. In canon, Naruto was ecstatic about the possibility of promotion. In this timeline, Naruto receives the news with calm interest rather than explosive enthusiasm. He understands the exams serve as tests of capability and information gathering rather than mere displays of power. Kaguya had explained to him that the Chunin rank indicates shinobi ready for leadership roles and independent missions, meaning the exams would test judgment and decision-making alongside combat ability. When Team 7 arrives at the academy building for the first stage, they encounter the same situation as canon, where two Chunin disguised as genin try to discourage participants with a genjutsu barrier. Sasuke notices the genjutsu immediately. Naruto also notices it instantly, having been trained by Kaguya to recognize and dispel genjutsu through chakra disruption, though he says nothing and follows Sasuke's lead when the Uchiha exposes the illusion. Inside the examination room, Team 7 takes their assigned seats scattered throughout the space. Ibiki explains the rules for the written test, including the point deduction system for getting caught cheating. When Naruto receives his test paper and sees the impossibly difficult questions, his reaction differs completely from canon. Canon Naruto panicked and froze, unable to answer anything. This Naruto recognizes immediately that the questions are designed to be unanswerable through normal means. The questions require knowledge of encryption codes, classified mission protocols, and strategic calculations that genin would never be taught. This is clearly a test of information gathering under pressure, exactly the kind of skill Chunin need when operating in hostile territory. Naruto sits calmly and observes the room using techniques Kaguya taught him. He does not need to cheat traditionally because he can sense chakra flow throughout the room using his enhanced perception. He identifies the planted Chunin who have the correct answers by noting which individuals have the steadiest chakra patterns and professional stillness. However, simply sensing who has answers is not enough. He needs to demonstrate information gathering in a way that appears genin level appropriate. Naruto creates a single shadow clone under his desk, so small it could fit in his palm. He transforms this tiny clone into a fly using transformation jutsu. The fly clone buzzes across the room and lands near a planted Chunin, close enough for the real Naruto to read the Chunin's paper using the clone's vision through their shared perspective. This method is more sophisticated than canon Naruto's approach of leaving his test blank, but it appears genin appropriate to observers. Creating tiny clones and transforming them into insects or small animals is within the capabilities that Academy students learn, though few execute it with such precision. Naruto copies down 5 answers over the course of the test period, spacing them out to avoid suspicion. He deliberately copies 2 answers slightly wrong to avoid perfect scores that might draw attention. His goal is not to demonstrate excellence, but to pass while maintaining his average genin facade. Meanwhile, Sasuke uses his Sharingan to copy answers as in canon, and Sakura answers correctly through her own intelligence. The test proceeds for 45 minutes before Ibiki announces the 10th question. The rules are identical to canon. Teams can quit now and try again later, or stay and risk being barred from the exams forever if they fail. Team members who quit disqualify their entire team. This is designed to test resolve and decision-making under pressure. Naruto does not stand and dramatically declare he will become Hokage no matter what, as in canon. Instead, when Ibiki asks who wants to quit and give multiple opportunities for genin to leave, Naruto simply remains seated with calm confidence. His stillness contrasts with the nervous energy of other genin who are sweating and debating internally. Several teams quit and leave. When the room has thinned significantly, Ibiki reveals the truth. There was no 10th question. The entire point was testing whether genin had the resolve to face unknown dangers, a quality essential for Chunin-level missions, where retreat is not always possible. Everyone remaining passes the first stage, including Team 7. Anko Mitarashi crashes through the window to announce herself as the second stage proctor, maintaining her dramatic entrance from canon. She leads all remaining teams to the Forest of Death. the training ground for the second stage. When teams arrive at the forest fence, Anko explains the rules. Each team receives either a Heaven or Earth scroll and must obtain the opposite scroll within 5 days while reaching the central tower. She emphasizes that death is common in this stage and has everyone sign liability waivers. Team 7 receives an Earth scroll and enters the forest through their assigned gate. The forest environment is oppressively dangerous even without other genin. Giant creatures lurk in the shadows, poisonous plants line the paths, and the thick canopy blocks much sunlight. Team 7 moves cautiously through the terrain with Sasuke taking point, Sakura in the middle protecting their scroll, and Naruto covering the rear. The formation makes tactical sense and shows their team coordination improving since the Land of Waves. Shortly after entering, they encounter the same trap as Canon, where an enemy ninja disguises himself as Naruto. Sasuke notices the fake immediately because of a missing detail and attacks. The imposter retreats and Sasuke establishes a complex password system to verify identities if they separate. Naruto memorizes the password perfectly despite its length, surprising both Sasuke and Sakura slightly since canon. Naruto struggled with complex information. When they are attacked and separated, then regroup with Naruto reciting the password correctly, Sasuke tests him by attacking anyway, knowing the real Naruto should not be able to remember such a complicated code. Naruto blocks Sasuke's strike and calmly explains he has better memory than people assume, which is technically true given Kaguya's training enhanced his cognitive abilities alongside his combat skills. The encounter with Orochimaru unfolds with significant differences from canon. When the massive snake summons bursts from underground and swallows Naruto, separating him from the team, Naruto does not simply struggle inside as in canon. Using chakra control Kaguya taught him, he walks along the snake's interior walls and cuts his way out through the creature's throat from the inside, emerging covered in blood and saliva but unharmed. He arrives back to the team's location just as Orochimaru begins releasing his killing intent towards Sasuke and Sakura. The pressure of Orochimaru's killing intent is suffocating, a tangible manifestation of murder that weighs on the mind and body. Lesser shinobi have been known to lose consciousness, or even die from heart failure, when exposed to killing intent from powerful jonin. Sasuke freezes completely, his body locked in terror as visions of his own death flash before his eyes. Sakura trembles violently, barely able to stand. Naruto feels the killing intent wash over him like a physical force, but his response is different. Kaguya's training prepared him for encounters with powerful opponents. She had exposed him to her own presence, which, as the progenitor of all chakra, carried weight beyond any current-era shinobi. More importantly, Kurama's presence within him acts as a buffer against external pressure. The Nine Tails chakra flares protectively around Naruto's system, insulating him from the worst psychological effects. Naruto moves forward and positions himself between Orochimaru and his teammates. His blue eyes meet Orochimaru's snake-like gaze without flinching. Orochimaru notices this immediately and finds it intriguing. Most genin collapse under his killing intent. This blonde child not only remains standing but shows clear eyes and ready stance. Orochimaru's interest shifts from pure focus on Sasuke to curiosity about Naruto. He probes deeper, asking Naruto questions about his identity and abilities. Naruto responds carefully, maintaining his cover identity while demonstrating enough competence to be interesting without revealing his true training. When Orochimaru summons another giant snake to attack, Naruto creates multiple shadow clones and engages the creature using teamwork tactics between clones. A display that appears impressive for a genin but does not exceed believable limits. Orochimaru laughs, delighted by the entertainment. He reveals his face, the disguise melting away to show his pale features and elongated face. Sasuke recognizes him as one of the legendary Sannin, making the situation even more desperate. Orochimaru explains he has come for Sasuke specifically, interested in the last Uchiha's potential. However, Naruto's unexpected resistance has caught his attention as well. The battle that follows showcases the massive gap between their abilities. Orochimaru toys with them, using basic techniques that still overwhelm the genin. He uses wind techniques to blast them backward, water clones to confuse and separate them, and summons smaller snakes that bind and constrict. Sasuke manages to break through his fear enough to use fire release jutsu, specifically the dragon fire technique that burns away more of Orochimaru's disguise. Orochimaru praises Sasuke's abilities and confirms he will give him a gift. Before either Sasuke or Naruto can react, Orochimaru moves with speed that makes him appear to teleport. He appears behind Sasuke and bites his neck, injecting the cursed seal of heaven. The seal spreads across Sasuke's neck in black markings before Sasuke screams in agony and collapses unconscious. Orochimaru then turns toward Naruto with interest. In canon, Orochimaru used the 5-element seal on Naruto to disrupt his chakra and the Nine Tails influence. In this timeline, when Orochimaru attempts the same seal, something unexpected happens. As his hand glows with sealing technique chakra and reaches toward Naruto's stomach, Kurama's chakra reacts violently from inside the seal. The Nine Tails has no intention of allowing its seal to be tampered with by someone like Orochimaru. Red chakra flares around Naruto in a protective burst, not enough to form the full one-tail cloak, but sufficient to physically repel Orochimaru's hand. Orochimaru's eyes widen slightly in genuine surprise. The chakra he just felt was unmistakably tailed beast chakra, and the sheer quantity suggests this is no ordinary Jinchuriki. The seal containing this beast must be extremely well crafted to hold such power, and the boy himself shows unusual compatibility with it to channel even small amounts so precisely. Orochimaru reassesses Naruto entirely. This child is not merely an entertaining genin with decent skills. He is a Jinchuriki of significant potential, possibly the Nine Tails itself given the chakra's color and intensity. The implications are fascinating. Konoha has kept this secret well, and Orochimaru now possesses valuable information. He decides not to apply any seal to Naruto, partly because the Nine Tails' protective reaction makes it technically difficult, and partly because he is curious to see how this Jinchuriki develops naturally. Orochimaru departs with a laugh and cryptic words about fate and power, leaving Team 7 in the forest. Sasuke is unconscious with the cursed seal spreading across his neck. Naruto stands protectively over him, while Sakura trembles nearby. The encounter has revealed to Orochimaru that Naruto is more than he appears, though the Sannin does not yet understand the full extent of what Kaguya's training has created. Sakura takes charge of protecting the unconscious. Sasuke and Naruto helps her move him to a more defensible location. They find a hollow tree and hide inside while Sasuke recovers from the cursed seal's application. Unlike canon, where only Sakura and later Lee defended the unconscious boys, in this timeline, Naruto remains conscious and capable. When Team Dosu arrives to attack as Orochimaru instructed, Naruto engages them directly. The fight demonstrates his controlled combat abilities without revealing his full power. He uses shadow clone tactics, basic taijutsu, and strategic thinking to hold off Team Dosu alongside Sakura until Sasuke awakens. When Sasuke does wake with the cursed seal active, the black markings spreading across his body and his chakra turning dark and violent, Naruto recognizes immediately what is happening. Kaguya taught him about cursed seals and how they corrupt the user's chakra with external influence. He sees Sasuke losing control as the seal drives him towards sadistic violence against Team Dosu. Naruto intervenes by placing his hand on Sasuke's shoulder and pushing his own chakra into Sasuke's system, disrupting the cursed seal's flow temporarily. This technique is based on principles Kaguya taught about chakra networks and control. The disruption jolts Sasuke back to awareness, allowing him to suppress the seal's influence through willpower. Team Dosu retreats, intimidated by Sasuke's cursed seal power and disturbed by Naruto's unexpected capability. Team 7 proceeds through the Forest of Death, eventually obtaining a Heaven Scroll from another team through strategic ambush rather than direct combat. They reach the central tower within the 5-day limit and open both scrolls in the designated room. Iruka appears via summoning jutsu sealed in the scrolls, delivering a message about the qualities needed for Chunin. The second stage concludes with 21 genin from 7 teams advancing to the next round, more than double the expected number. The third Hokage and exam proctors decide to hold preliminary matches to reduce numbers before the finals. The preliminaries are one-on-one fights, randomly selected and held immediately in the tower's arena. Naruto's match comes up as the 7th fight. He faces Kiba Inuzuka and Akamaru. In canon, this fight involved Naruto winning through tricks and surprising tactics after struggling significantly. In this timeline, the fight remains close to maintain Naruto's cover, but shows subtle improvements. He counters Kiba's combination attacks with better timing, uses shadow clones more strategically, and demonstrates superior chakra control in his movements. When Kiba and Akamaru use their beast mimicry techniques and attack in coordinated strikes, Naruto responds with precision that suggests better training than typical genin. He wins the match decisively, without using Kurama's chakra, proving his capability through skill rather than overwhelming power. Sasuke defeats Yoroi as in canon, using techniques copied from Lee. Other matches proceed similarly to canon, including Neji's brutal victory over Hinata and Rock Lee's devastating loss to Gaara. After the preliminaries, the successful genin have 1 month to train before the finals. Kakashi takes Sasuke for private training to teach him Chidori and help him control the cursed seal. For Naruto, Kakashi assigns Ebisu to train him in chakra control and fundamentals. However, Naruto already possesses chakra control far beyond what Ebisu could teach. He goes through the motions of training while actually spending his evenings returning to Kaguya's ice dimension through her portals for real instruction. Kaguya is intrigued by his report about Orochimaru and the cursed seal. She explains that Orochimaru is attempting to achieve immortality through forbidden techniques, something that goes against natural order. She teaches Naruto more advanced chakra manipulation and has him continue developing his cooperation with Kurama. The Nine Tails, having protected Naruto from Orochimaru's seal, is growing more invested in Naruto's success. Their partnership deepens during this month, with Kurama allowing Naruto access to more chakra while teaching him to blend tailed beast chakra with his own more smoothly. By the time the finals approach, Naruto has grown significantly stronger while carefully maintaining the appearance of average progress that would be expected from Ebisu's training alone. The finals are scheduled to begin with Naruto's match against Neji Hyuga, a fight that will test not only Naruto's abilities, but also his resolve to maintain his cover while facing the Hyuga prodigy's overwhelming skill advantage. The month of preparation has equipped him with techniques and strategies, but the real challenge will be balancing showing growth appropriate for his cover identity while not getting seriously injured or forced to reveal capabilities that would expose his true training. As the date approaches, Naruto contemplates what Kaguya taught him about fate and choice, themes that will resonate powerfully during his confrontation with Neji's philosophy of predetermined destiny. The Chunin exams have already revealed dangerous elements at play in the shinobi world, with Orochimaru's presence and interest in both Sasuke and Naruto suggesting future conflicts that will test everything Naruto has learned from the rabbit goddess who raised him in secret. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the 5th saga of our What If timeline. Saga 5, the finals and the fall. 1 month stands between the preliminary matches and the final round of the Chunin exams. During these 30 days, participants train to perfect their skills and prepare for the battles ahead. The finals bring spectators from across the ninja world to witness the next generation of shinobi. What appears to be a tournament becomes the stage for a coordinated invasion that threatens to destroy Konoha itself. In the original timeline, the month-long break allows each finalist to seek training from experienced jonin. Kakashi takes Sasuke to teach him a new jutsu. Naruto trains under Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, who helps him improve his chakra control through water-walking exercises. Jiraiya also removes the 5-element seal that Orochimaru placed on Naruto during the Forest of Death, which had been disrupting his chakra flow. With the seal removed, Naruto learns to summon Gamabunta, the giant toad boss. The training exhausts Naruto so much that he ends up in the hospital. During this month, several dark events occur in the shadows. Dosu, one of the Sound Genin, attempts to assassinate Gaara but gets killed instead. Hayate, the proctor who oversaw the preliminary matches, discovers Baki speaking with Kabuto about plans to invade Konoha. Before Hayate can warn anyone, Baki murders him. Gaara also tries to kill Rock Lee in the hospital, driven by his bloodlust, but Naruto and Shikamaru intervene. Guy arrives and forces Gaara to leave. The finals begin with Naruto fighting Neji in the first match. Despite Neji sealing his chakra points with the gentle fist technique, Naruto taps into the Nine Tails power and defeats him with a surprise attack from underground. This victory changes Neji's view on destiny. The second match features Shikamaru versus Temari. Though Shikamaru outsmarts her and could win, he forfeits due to low chakra reserves. His tactical thinking impresses the judges enough to promote him to Chunin anyway. The final match between Sasuke and Gaara gets interrupted when Sasuke pierces Gaara's ultimate defense with his new Chidori technique. Gaara's injury triggers the invasion. Kabuto casts the Temple of Nirvana Genjutsu, putting most spectators to sleep. The fourth Kazekage, revealed to be Orochimaru in disguise, takes the third Hokage hostage. The Sound 4 erect the 4 Violet Flames formation barrier to trap them on the rooftop. Orochimaru uses Edo Tensei to summon the first and second Hokage to fight against the third. Meanwhile, Suna and Oto forces attack from outside while giant snakes assault the village walls. Kakashi assigns Sakura, Naruto, and Shikamaru to pursue Sasuke, who chases after Gaara and his siblings. In the forest, Naruto battles Gaara, who transforms into Shukaku. With Gamabunta's help, Naruto defeats Gaara and uses his Talk no Jutsu to make Gaara understand that bonds with others give life meaning. On the rooftop, the third Hokage uses the dead demon-consuming seal to trap the reanimated Hokages and seal Orochimaru's arms, robbing him of the ability to perform jutsu. This technique costs the third his life. With Orochimaru crippled and the invasion repelled, the Sound and Sand forces retreat. The third Hokage's funeral marks the end of an era for Konoha. The giant screen in the preliminary arena displayed the final bracket. 8 names remained. Naruto stared at his first opponent with fierce determination, Neji Hyuga, the same person who had brutalized Hinata. Perfect. The month-long break before the finals gave everyone time to prepare, but for Naruto, this preparation looked completely different from what anyone expected. Kakashi approached his students after the brackets were announced. He looked at Sasuke with his usual lazy expression. "Sasuke, you're coming with me. We need to work on something special for your match." Sakura waited expectantly, hoping for her own training assignment, but Kakashi just gave her an apologetic smile. "Sakura, keep working on your chakra control. That's the foundation for everything." Then he glanced at Naruto. "As for you, I'm sure someone will show up to help." Naruto felt a flash of irritation. Why did Sasuke always get special treatment? But the irritation faded quickly. He didn't need Kakashi. He had Kaguya. That evening, back in his apartment, Naruto sat cross-legged on his bed and focused his chakra. The air shimmered, and Kaguya materialized beside him. She wore her usual white robes, her pale eyes studying him carefully. "The finals begin in 30 days. Naruto said quietly. "I need to be ready for Neji." He uses the Gentle Fist to seal chakra points. His Byakugan can see my chakra network and predict my movements. Kaguya's expression remained calm. The Hyuga clan's techniques are formidable, but they have limitations. The Gentle Fist works by striking the Tenketsu points with precise chakra. However, your body is different from ordinary humans. You possess the 9 tails. Your chakra regenerates at an accelerated rate, and you have reserves far beyond what Neji can comprehend. She paused, letting that sink in. More importantly, you have already learned techniques that render the Byakugan's predictive ability useless. Naruto thought about his training over the years. Shadow clones, transformation jutsu, substitution, all basics, but when combined creatively, they became powerful tools. "You want me to overwhelm him with numbers?" Naruto realized. "If there are hundreds of clones, the Byakugan can't track them all effectively." "Correct," Kaguya confirmed. "But there is more. The Gentle Fist requires close combat. If Neji cannot reach you, he cannot seal your chakra points. We will refine your taijutsu further, focusing on maintaining distance and creating openings through deception." She stood gracefully. "Come, we have work to do." Each night for the next month, Naruto traveled through Kaguya's portal to her ice dimension. There, away from any observer's eyes, they trained relentlessly. Kaguya showed him how to read an opponent's body language, how to recognize the split-second tells before a Gentle Fist strike. She taught him to layer shadow clones in strategic formations, creating waves of attacks that forced enemies to commit to defense. They practiced underground surprise attacks, with Naruto using transformation jutsu to disguise himself as debris, or even as other clones. During the days, Naruto maintained his public routine. He spent time at Ichiraku Ramen, trained at the public grounds with basic exercises, and even visited the hospital where Rock Lee was recovering from his injuries during the preliminaries. Lee's dedication inspired Naruto even more. If Lee could push himself that hard with just taijutsu, then Naruto had no excuse to slack off. One night, about 2 weeks into training, Kurama spoke up from within Naruto's mindscape. "You know, Kit, you could just use my chakra to overpower the Hyuga brat. My power would burn through any chakra point ceiling he tries." Naruto stood in the sewer-like corridor of his mind, facing the massive cage that held the Nine Tails. "I could," Naruto admitted, "but I don't want to rely on your power for everything. I need to prove that I'm strong because of my own skills, not just because you're inside me." Kurama's eyes glowed in the darkness. "Stubborn brat. You're just like your mother." A pause. "Fine. But if things get desperate, don't be an idiot. Use what you have available." Naruto grinned. "Deal." The bond between Naruto and Kurama had grown significantly since Kaguya removed most of the seal's restrictive layers. They weren't exactly friends yet, but they had mutual respect. Kurama could sense Kaguya's presence whenever she appeared, and though the fox remained wary of the Akatsuki, he recognized that she had made Naruto genuinely stronger. During the third week, something unexpected happened. Naruto was eating ramen at Ichiraku when Jiraiya appeared. The legendary Sannin looked as eccentric as ever, with his wild white hair, red markings under his eyes, and the kanji for oil on his forehead protector. "Hey there, kid," Jiraiya announced loudly, settling onto the stool next to Naruto. "You're one of the finalists, right, Naruto Uzumaki?" Naruto nodded cautiously, slurping his noodles. He knew who Jiraiya was, one of the legendary Sannin. A powerful shinobi with a reputation for both incredible jutsu and incredible perversion. "Yeah, that's me. What about it?" Jiraiya grinned widely. "Well, I couldn't help but notice you don't have a sensei helping you prepare. That Kakashi guy is working with the Uchiha kid, right? So I thought, why not give you some pointers from a real master?" This was interesting. In Naruto's knowledge of the original timeline, Jiraiya had indeed trained him during this month. The Sannin had helped him with chakra control, removed Orochimaru's seal, and taught him to summon Gamabunta. But in this timeline, Naruto didn't have Orochimaru's seal anymore. Kaguya had removed it weeks ago, and Naruto's chakra control, while not perfect, had improved dramatically under her guidance. Still, Jiraiya was offering free training. It would be suspicious to refuse completely. "What kind of training?" Naruto asked carefully. Jiraiya pulled out a small scroll. "Summoning Jutsu. The Toads of Mount Myoboku are legendary partners in battle. With your chakra reserves, you could summon some serious backup. Plus, I'll help you refine your basics. What do you say?" Naruto made a show of considering it, then nodded with feigned enthusiasm. "Yeah, that sounds awesome." Inside his mind, he quickly calculated. Learning the summoning jutsu could be useful. Toads were powerful allies, and having Jiraiya as a connection might provide valuable intelligence. But he needed to be careful not to reveal the full extent of his abilities. Over the next week, Naruto trained with Jiraiya during the daytime. The Sannin started by checking Naruto's chakra flow, looking for any seals or restrictions. He found nothing unusual, which seemed to confuse him slightly. "Huh, I heard you had some trouble with chakra control, but your network looks fine." Jiraiya scratched his head. "Well, more chakra control practice never hurt anyone." They worked on water walking, which Naruto pretended to struggle with initially before improving over several days. Jiraiya seemed pleased with the progress. Then came the summoning training. Jiraiya explained that summoning required a contract, a blood offering, and a significant amount of chakra. He bit his thumb and demonstrated, summoning a small toad. "Your turn, kid. Sign this scroll with your blood, then channel your chakra through this hand seal." Naruto followed the instructions. When he slammed his palm down and called out, "Summoning Jutsu," a massive burst of chakra erupted. Smoke filled the training ground. When it cleared, Jiraiya's jaw dropped. A toad the size of a small building sat before them. Gamabunta, the toad boss, looked down with annoyed eyes. "Who summoned me?" His deep voice rumbled across the area. Jiraiya laughed nervously. "Ah, Gamabunta, long time no see. This kid here just signed your contract. A brat summoned me?" Gamabunta interrupted. He stared at Naruto with narrowed eyes. "You better have a good reason, kid, or I'm sending you flying." Naruto stood his ground, meeting the giant toad's gaze calmly. Years of training with Kaguya had taught him not to show fear. "I need a partner for the Chunin exam finals, someone who can keep up with me in a real fight." Gamabunta studied him for a long moment. "You got guts. I'll give you that. Fine. Prove you can stay on my head during a fight, and I'll consider being your summon." Without warning, the toad launched forward, bouncing across the training ground at high speed. Naruto immediately channeled chakra to his feet, sticking to Gamabunta's head as they careened through the forest. Trees whipped past. Gamabunta twisted and spun, trying to shake him off, but Naruto's chakra control held firm. After several minutes of this, Gamabunta finally stopped. Not bad, kid. Most genin would have fallen off in the first 10 seconds. He let out a rumbling chuckle. All right, you can summon me when you need backup, but don't waste my time with small fights. Naruto grinned. Deal. As Gamabunta disappeared in a puff of smoke, Jiraiya approached with an impressed expression. Well, you're full of surprises, Naruto. That was some serious chakra you pushed into that summon. Most genin can barely manage a tadpole on their first try. Naruto scratched the back of his head, playing it off casually. Guess I just have a lot of chakra. My mom was an Uzumaki, so maybe that's why. The mention of his mother made Jiraiya's expression shift slightly, becoming more thoughtful. Yeah, the Uzumaki were known for their chakra reserves and vitality. He paused, then clapped Naruto on the shoulder. Keep training hard, kid. You've got potential. They continued training together for the remaining days, but Naruto kept his true capabilities hidden. At night, he returned to Kaguya's dimension for the real training. She had watched his interaction with Gamabunta through her dimensional awareness and approved. The Toads are powerful allies. Their combat experience spans centuries. Use them wisely. During the final week before the finals, dark events unfolded in the shadows of Konoha. Late one night, Hayate, the sickly proctor who had overseen the preliminaries, was walking through the village when he overheard a conversation near the forest edge. He recognized Baki, the Jonin from Suna who supervised Gaara's team. Baki was speaking with someone else, and their words made Hayate's blood run cold. The invasion begins during the finals. When Gaara transforms, that's the signal. Suna and Oto forces will breach the walls simultaneously. Hayate tried to retreat silently, but a twig snapped under his foot. Baki's head whipped around instantly. Who's there? Before Hayate could flee, Baki appeared behind him in a burst of speed. I'm sorry you heard that. Baki's blade cut through the night. Hayate fell without making a sound. 2 days later, Gaara attempted to assassinate Rock Lee in the hospital. The sand-wielding genin moved through the corridors late at night, his eyes empty and cold. He found Lee's room and prepared to crush him while he slept. But before his sand could strike, Naruto appeared in the doorway. Stop! Naruto's voice cut through the silence. He had been visiting Lee when he sensed someone approaching with obvious killing intent. Shikamaru emerged from another room, already alerted by Naruto's presence. Gaara turned slowly, his sand swirling defensively. Why do you care about him? He's weak. Weak people should die. Naruto stepped forward carefully. Lee's not weak. He almost beat you in the preliminaries. You're just scared because he proved you're not invincible. The words hit their mark. Gaara's expression twisted with rage. His sand lashed out, but Naruto moved faster, pulling Lee's sleeping form away from danger. Shikamaru activated his shadow possession jutsu, trying to restrain Gaara, but the sand formed a shield automatically. Before the situation could escalate further, Guy appeared in a whirl of speed. That's enough! The Jonin's voice carried absolute authority. He placed himself between Gaara and his students, his usual cheerful expression replaced with deadly seriousness. Leave, now. Gaara stared at Guy for a tense moment, then slowly backed away. They can't protect you forever, he muttered before disappearing into the night. Guy immediately checked on Lee, relieved to find him unharmed. He looked at Naruto and Shikamaru with gratitude. Thank you both. You may have saved his life tonight. After that incident, security around the hospital increased, but the damage was done. Gaara's instability had been fully revealed. The finals were approaching, and everyone could feel the tension building in the air. Finally, the day arrived. The arena had been completely rebuilt after the preliminaries, transformed into a massive stadium that could hold thousands of spectators. People from across the ninja world had traveled to witness the finals. Daimyo from various lands, including the Fire Daimyo himself, sat in a special viewing box alongside the 3rd Hokage and the 4th Kazekage. Naruto stood in the waiting area beneath the arena with the other finalists. Neji was there, arms crossed, his Byakugan eyes briefly scanning Naruto with disdain. Shikamaru looked bored as usual. Temari stood with her siblings, her fan resting against her shoulder. Kankuro checked his puppet's mechanisms. Gaara stood alone, radiating menace. Sasuke was noticeably absent. The proctor for the finals, Genma Shiranui, gathered the competitors. He looked similar to Hayate but healthier, with a senbon needle perpetually in his mouth. Alright, listen up. The same rules apply. Fight until your opponent gives up, passes out, or I call the match. Don't kill unless absolutely necessary, but this is a real combat assessment. The daimyo and foreign dignitaries are watching. Show them what Konoha's next generation can do. The competitors filed out into the arena. The roar of the crowd hit like a physical wave. Thousands of voices cheered and called out names. Naruto scanned the audience, spotting familiar faces. Iruka sat with other academy instructors, waving enthusiastically. Sakura was in the stands with Ino, both of them holding signs. Even Hinata was there with her team, though she looked away shyly when Naruto's eyes passed over her section. In the VIP box, the third Hokage sat in his ceremonial robes. Next to him was the fourth Kazekage, face hidden behind the traditional Kage hat and cloth wrappings. What no one in the arena knew was that this Kazekage was actually Orochimaru in disguise. The Snake Sannin had killed the real Kazekage weeks ago and taken his place to infiltrate the finals. Orochimaru's eyes gleamed with anticipation behind his disguise as he watched the arena floor where Sasuke's name appeared on the bracket. The Uchiha hadn't arrived yet, and time was running short. Genma stood at the center of the arena. The first match, Naruto Uzumaki versus Neji Hyuga. The crowd erupted in cheers. Naruto and Neji stepped forward as the other competitors retreated to the waiting area. They faced each other across the sandy arena floor. Neji activated his Byakugan immediately. Veins bulged around his eyes as his vision enhanced, seeing Naruto's chakra network in perfect detail. "I can see everything," Neji stated coldly. "Every movement you make, every technique you prepare, I'll know before you execute it. This match is already decided by fate." Naruto took his stance, keeping his expression neutral. "You talk about fate like it's absolute, but I don't believe that. People make their own paths." Neji's expression hardened. "You're naive. You can't understand what it means to be born into the branch family, to have your entire life determined from birth. Destiny is real, and it's cruel." "Then I'll just have to prove you wrong," Naruto replied calmly. Genma raised his hand, looked at both competitors, then dropped it sharply. "Begin." Neji immediately charged forward, his hands positioned for the gentle fist stance. His Byakugan tracked every minute detail of Naruto's movements. But instead of engaging directly, Naruto formed the seal for Shadow Clone Jutsu. 20 clones materialized around him simultaneously. Neji's eyes widened slightly. Shadow clones all had identical chakra signatures, making it difficult even for the Byakugan to distinguish the real one immediately. The clones rushed at Neji from multiple angles. The Hyuga prodigy moved with precision, his gentle fist strikes hitting clone after clone. Each one dispersed in smoke, but more kept coming. Naruto created wave after wave, forcing Neji to constantly defend and attack. "This won't work," Neji called out, striking down 3 clones in rapid succession. "I can see your chakra flowing. I'll find the real you." But that was exactly what Naruto wanted. While Neji focused on eliminating clones, the real Naruto maintained distance, studying Neji's patterns. Every gentle fist strike followed predictable angles. The Byakugan gave Neji near-perfect defense, but his attacks had to follow the forms of the Hyuga style. After 2 minutes of continuous assault, Neji finally pinpointed the real Naruto and closed the distance in a burst of speed. His palm strike targeted Naruto's shoulder, aiming for the chakra point there. But at the last second, Naruto substituted with a rock, appearing several meters away. Neji pursued relentlessly. Their taijutsu exchange began in earnest. Neji's gentle fist came in rapid combinations, each strike aimed at sealing chakra points. Naruto dodged and weaved, using every technique Kaguya had drilled into him. He recognized when Neji committed too much weight to an attack and used those moments to create distance. The crowd watched in amazement as the match progressed. In the stands, Rock Lee leaned forward intently. "Naruto's taijutsu has improved dramatically. He's reading Neji's movements." Guy nodded approvingly beside him. "Indeed, that boy has trained hard." In the Kage box, the third Hokage watched with interest. The Uzumaki boy fights smarter than expected. He's not simply relying on brute force. The disguised Orochimaru remained silent, but internally, he was analyzing every detail of Naruto's technique. After several more exchanges, Neji finally managed to land a solid hit. His palm struck Naruto's left arm, sealing the chakra point there. Naruto grimaced as his arm went numb. "First point sealed," Neji declared. 63 more to go. But instead of panicking, Naruto smiled slightly. Yeah? Let's see how many you can actually seal. He created more shadow clones, and these clones immediately went underground using a transformation technique to disguise themselves as dirt. Neji could see the chakra signatures moving beneath the surface with his Byakugan, but he couldn't strike them effectively while they remained hidden. Naruto knew the Byakugan's weakness. While it gave incredible vision, it didn't grant the user heightened physical abilities beyond normal human limits. If Neji focused all his attention on underground threats, his defense against above-ground attacks would weaken. Naruto's surface clones attacked again, and as Neji defended, one of the underground clones erupted from below, striking at Neji's legs. Neji spun, using the technique 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. His body rotated rapidly, expelling chakra from all his tenketsu points simultaneously. The rotating sphere of chakra deflected the underground clone and dispersed the surface clones in one motion. It was an absolute defense. Naruto watched carefully. That technique required Neji to expel chakra from his entire body. It was powerful but must consume significant chakra. If Naruto could force Neji to use it repeatedly, the Hyuga genius would tire. The battle continued for another 10 minutes. Naruto maintained his strategy of overwhelming numbers and surprise attacks. Neji sealed several more of Naruto's chakra points, but never enough to completely shut down his chakra flow. Each time Neji used Revolving Heaven, Naruto noted the slight decrease in his movement speed afterward. Finally, Naruto decided it was time to end this. He created a massive wave of shadow clones, over 100 this time, the arena floor filled with identical Narutos. "Enough of this!" Neji shouted. His hands moved through seals. 8 trigrams, 64 palms! Neji charged at what he believed was the real Naruto, his gentle fist striking in the precise pattern of the 64 palms technique. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms. Each strike hit perfectly, sealing chakra point after chakra point. The Naruto he struck fell to his knees, unable to move. "It's over," Neji declared. "Destiny has been fulfilled." But then that Naruto dispersed in smoke. Clone. Neji's eyes widened in shock. His Byakugan spun around frantically, searching for the real Naruto. He found the chakra signature underground, right beneath where he stood. Before Neji could react, the real Naruto exploded from below, his fist connecting solidly with Neji's chin. The uppercut launched Neji into the air. Naruto followed up instantly, appearing above Neji midair using his superior speed. "I told you," Naruto said as he delivered a spinning kick that sent Neji crashing back to the arena floor. "People make their own paths." Neji hit the ground hard, creating a small crater. He tried to rise, but collapsed. The extensive use of his Byakugan, the multiple uses of Revolving Heaven, and the final combination attack had depleted him completely. Genma moved in quickly, checking Neji's condition. After a moment, he raised his hand. "Winner. Naruto Uzumaki." The crowd erupted in deafening cheers. In the stands, Hinata covered her mouth with both hands, tears forming in her eyes. Naruto had defeated the person who had crushed her, the person who represented everything she feared about her clan. If Naruto could do it, maybe she could grow stronger too. Neji lay on the ground, staring at the sky in disbelief. Everything he had believed about destiny, about the unchangeable nature of fate, had just been challenged. A supposed failure, someone with no special bloodline, had defeated him. As medical ninja arrived to treat Neji, Naruto walked over and extended his hand. "You're really strong, Neji, but strength isn't determined by fate. It's determined by how hard you're willing to fight." Neji stared at the offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he reached up and grasped it. Something in his eyes had changed. The absolute certainty was gone, replaced by the first seeds of doubt about his worldview. As Naruto helped Neji to his feet, Guy stood in the audience with tears streaming down his face. "Beautiful, the power of youth and determination." Lee stood beside him, equally emotional. Naruto proved that hard work can overcome genius. In the VIP box, the third Hokage nodded with satisfaction. "That boy continues to surprise me. His growth has been exceptional." Orochimaru, still disguised as the Kazekage, watched Naruto carefully. The boy had hidden depths, more than the Hokage realized. This made him an even more valuable target. After Naruto returned to the waiting area, the next match was announced. Shikamaru Nara versus Temari. Shikamaru sighed heavily. What a drag. Fighting a girl is such a pain. Temari's eye twitched in annoyance. What was that? But despite his complaints, Shikamaru walked out to the arena. The match between these two showcased completely different fighting styles. Temari used her giant fan to create powerful wind attacks, keeping Shikamaru at distance. Shikamaru used the shadow possession jutsu, trying to extend his shadow to capture her. The battle became a game of chess. Shikamaru manipulated the shadows created by the arena walls and structures, gradually herding Temari toward specific positions. She recognized his strategy and used her wind jutsu to create dust clouds that disrupted sightlines. For 20 minutes they maneuvered, neither landing a decisive blow. Finally, Shikamaru managed to extend his shadow far enough to catch Temari's shadow. She froze, unable to move. Gotcha, Shikamaru muttered. He manipulated her body, making her drop her fan. Victory was assured. But then Shikamaru did something unexpected. Proctor, I forfeit. Everyone in the stadium fell silent in confusion. Genma blinked. You, forfeit? You have her captured. Shikamaru scratched his head lazily. Yeah, but I've used too much chakra. Even if I won this match, I'd be useless in the next round. No point in continuing. He released his jutsu and walked off the arena floor, leaving Temari standing there in stunned confusion. The crowd murmured, not understanding, but in the VIP box, the third Hokage smiled knowingly. That boy has the mind of a true Chunin. He understands his limits and makes tactical decisions based on the bigger picture. The disguised Orochimaru had to agree internally. That Nara boy would make a fine strategist if he survived what was coming. Winner by forfeit, Temari, Genma announced. After a brief intermission, it was time for the final match. Sasuke Uchiha versus Gaara. But there was a problem. Sasuke still hadn't arrived. The audience grew restless. The fire daimyo looked at the third Hokage questioningly. Where is the Uchiha boy? Hiruzen frowned slightly. He should be here shortly. Kakashi was training him personally. Minutes ticked by. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. The crowd started booing. Just as Genma was about to declare Sasuke disqualified, a leaf whirlwind appeared in the center of the arena. When the dust cleared, Kakashi and Sasuke stood there dramatically. Sorry, we're late, Kakashi announced cheerfully. We got lost on the path of life. The crowd went wild with excitement. Sasuke looked different, more confident. His eyes held a new intensity. The month of training had clearly changed him. Gaara slowly walked onto the arena floor. His sand gourd moved restlessly on his back, as if alive. His eyes fixed on Sasuke with barely contained bloodlust. Finally. I get to kill you properly, Sasuke smirked. You can try. Genma looked at both competitors. The rules are the same. Fight until one of you can't continue. Begin. Immediately, Gaara's sand erupted from his gourd, forming a wave that crashed towards Sasuke. But Sasuke was ready. His speed had increased dramatically. He moved faster than the sand could track, appearing at different angles and launching kunai. None of the kunai penetrated Gaara's automatic sand defense, but Sasuke wasn't trying to. He was testing response times. Then Sasuke used his new technique. Lightning chakra crackled around his left hand, creating a sound like 1,000 birds chirping. Chidori! He charged forward at incredible speed. Gaara erected his shield of sand, his ultimate defense that had never been pierced. Sasuke's Chidori met the shield. For a split second, they struggled. Then the Chidori pushed through, piercing the sand and striking Gaara's shoulder. Blood. For the first time in his life, Gaara saw his own blood. The pain was minimal, but the psychological impact was massive. His eyes widened in shock and terror. Blood, my blood. The sand around him went berserk, swirling chaotically. Gaara clutched his head, screaming, "Mother wants blood! She demands blood!" In the stands, Baki recognized the signs. Gaara was losing control faster than expected. He made a hand seal, signaling the sand and sound forces hidden throughout the audience. This was it. The invasion would begin now, ahead of schedule. Kabuto, disguised as a Konoha Anbu, formed hand seals. Temple of Nirvana technique. White feathers began falling from the sky like snow. Most of the audience, seeing the feathers, fell into a deep genjutsu-induced sleep. Civilians and weaker ninja collapsed in their seats. Only the stronger shinobi managed to resist or dispel the genjutsu. In the VIP box, the disguised Kazekage suddenly moved. He grabbed the third Hokage from behind, pressing a kunai to his throat. The four Sound 4 members, who had been disguised as the Kazekage's bodyguards, immediately formed hand seals. A purple barrier erupted around the rooftop area where the VIP box was located, separating the Hokage from all potential help. Anbu members rushed forward but were repelled by the barrier. The four Violet Flames formation couldn't be broken from outside. The Kazekage's voice changed, becoming smooth and mocking. "Hello, Sensei, did you miss me?" The disguise fell away, revealing Orochimaru's pale face and yellow eyes. Hiruzen's eyes widened. "Orochimaru, the village rejected me," Orochimaru hissed. "They called me a monster for pursuing the ultimate truth. So now I'll destroy everything you built." He released the Hokage and jumped back, forming hand seals, summoning Impure World Reincarnation. The roof tiles cracked as 3 coffins rose from the ground. The lids fell away, revealing 3 figures wrapped in paper seals. As the seals burned away, the faces of the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, and the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, appeared. They had been resurrected as Edo Tensei puppets. A third coffin attempted to rise, but Hiruzen reacted instantly, using his own chakra to suppress it. He couldn't let Orochimaru summon Minato, the fourth Hokage. The coffin sank back into the ground. "2 will have to do," Orochimaru said casually. He placed control seals into the resurrected Hokage's heads. Their eyes, which had shown brief consciousness, went blank and obedient. "Sensei, let me show you the result of my research. The dead will kill the living." Hiruzen removed his ceremonial Hokage robes, revealing his combat gear underneath. Despite his age, his eyes burned with determination. "Orochimaru, I failed you as a teacher. I should have stopped you years ago when I had the chance. I won't make that mistake twice." Meanwhile, throughout Konoha, chaos erupted. Giant snakes, summoned by Orochimaru, began smashing through the village walls. Sand and sound ninja poured in from multiple entry points. Konoha's forces responded immediately. Jonin gathered the civilians and began evacuating them to the Hokage mountain shelter. Anbu engaged the invaders. Legendary battles began at locations throughout the village. In the arena, Kakashi quickly assessed the situation. He dispelled the genjutsu affecting Sakura, who was one of the few genin with enough awareness to nearly break it herself. "Sakura! Wake up, Naruto and Shikamaru!" She nodded quickly, using the genjutsu dispelling method Kakashi had taught her. Within moments, both boys were alert. Kakashi pointed toward the forest, where Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari were retreating. Sasuke had already gone after them. Mission: stop Sasuke and prevent Gaara from transforming fully. If Shukaku, the One-Tail, manifests completely in the middle of the village, casualties will be catastrophic. Naruto's eyes hardened. "Got it." Kakashi summoned Pakun, his ninja hound. "Pakun will track them. Go. I'll hold things here." The 3 genin plus Pakun immediately left the arena, pursuing their targets into the forest of death. As they ran, explosions echoed from all directions. Konoha was under full assault. The pursuing team moved through the trees at high speed. Pakun's nose led them along Sasuke's trail. "He's not far ahead," the dog announced. Within minutes, they caught up. Sasuke was engaged with Kankuro, whose puppet Crow was keeping him at bay with poisoned weapons. "Sasuke," Sakura called out. He glanced back briefly. "Stay out of this. I have to stop Gaara." But before he could continue, Kankuro's puppet attacked again. Naruto joined the fight instantly, his shadow clones swarming the puppet. "Keep going," Naruto shouted to Sasuke. "We'll handle this." Sasuke hesitated only a moment, then nodded and continued after Gaara. Shikamaru hung back slightly, analyzing the battlefield. "Naruto, that puppet is controlled by chakra strings. If we can disrupt the controller's focus..." On it, several of Naruto's clones engaged Kankuro directly, while others attacked the puppet. The divided attention forced Kankuro to retreat, wrapping himself in bandages to avoid direct hits. Meanwhile, Temari had stopped on a thick tree branch, deciding to delay their pursuers further. She opened her fan fully, revealing the 3 purple circles. Wind Scythe Jutsu. A massive cutting wind blast tore through the forest, shredding trees and forcing Sakura to take cover. Shikamaru's shadow snaked along the ground, but Temari stayed airborne, making it difficult to catch her. The battle fragmented into multiple fronts. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sakura were tied up with Temari and Kankuro. Sasuke continued pursuing Gaara alone. And back in the village, on the rooftop barrier, the greatest battle was unfolding. Hiruzen summoned Enma, the Monkey King, who transformed into the adamantine staff. With this weapon, the third Hokage engaged the reanimated first and second Hokage. The battle was brutal. Hashirama's wood-release jutsu created massive trees that erupted from the rooftop. Tobirama's water release techniques flooded the area despite the lack of a water source. Hiruzen countered with his own techniques, showing why he was called the Professor for mastering thousands of jutsu. Fire release, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. A massive dragon of flame collided with Tobirama's water wall, creating a steam explosion. But fighting two former Hokages, even in their weakened Edo Tensei states, was taking its toll. Hiruzen was in his late 60s. His chakra reserves and physical stamina weren't what they once were. Orochimaru watched from a safe distance, occasionally sending commands to the resurrected Hokages. "You see, Sensei, even the great Hiruzen Sarutobi can't defeat the power of my jutsu. Soon Konoha will fall, and from its ashes I'll create something greater." "You understand nothing," Hiruzen replied, deflecting another wood-release attack. "A village isn't buildings or power, it's the bonds between people who protect each other. That's something your immortality research will never comprehend." Hiruzen realized he couldn't win this fight through conventional means. There was only one technique that could seal Edo Tensei completely. A forbidden technique that required the ultimate sacrifice. Back in the forest, Sasuke finally caught up to Gaara. The youngest of the Sand siblings had stopped in a clearing, clutching his head and screaming. The transformation into Shukaku had begun. Sand covered his body, forming the features of the one-tailed demon. "Blood! I need blood! Mother demands it!" Gaara's voice was distorted, mixed with another presence. Sasuke prepared another Chidori, but hesitated. The last one had triggered this transformation. If he used it again, would Gaara transform faster? Before he could decide, Gaara's sand formed a massive arm that swatted Sasuke aside like an insect. He crashed into a tree, his body battered. The Chidori had consumed significant chakra, and he'd used it multiple times during training. He was running on fumes. That's when Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sakura arrived. They had managed to force Kankuro and Temari to retreat temporarily. Naruto saw Gaara's partial transformation and Sasuke's injured state. Sakura immediately moved to protect Sasuke, standing between him and Gaara despite her fear. "I won't let you hurt him!" Shikamaru's mind raced through tactical options. "Naruto, that sand armor is too thick for normal attacks. We need something with massive force." Naruto nodded grimly. He bit his thumb and formed hand seals. Summoning jutsu! A massive explosion of smoke filled the clearing. When it cleared, Gamabunta sat there, his pipe dangling from his mouth. "You summoned me, kid? This better be good!" "That's a demon-possessed sand user turning into a giant monster," Naruto said, pointing at Gaara. "Good enough?" Gamabunta's eyes widened slightly. "A Jinchuriki. Yeah, that'll do." He drew his massive sword. Gaara's transformation completed. The full form of Shukaku manifested, a giant tanuki made of sand with cursed seal markings across its body. Its size rivaled Gamabunta's. "Finally, I'm free." Shukaku's voice boomed across the forest. "Time to destroy everything." The battle between Gamabunta and Shukaku shook the earth. Massive attacks collided. Gamabunta's water bullets splashed against Shukaku's sand body, temporarily disrupting it, but the sand reformed instantly. Shukaku's wind bullets created craters in the landscape. Naruto stood on Gamabunta's head, maintaining his chakra to stay attached. He could see Gaara's sleeping form on top of Shukaku's head. That was the key. Gaara had to sleep for Shukaku to maintain full control. If Naruto could wake him, the transformation might break. "Gamabunta, get me close to his head," Naruto called out. "You crazy kid, that's right in his strike zone." "Just do it." Gamabunta grumbled but complied. Using his powerful legs, the Toad Boss launched toward Shukaku. The demon swatted at them, but Gamabunta dodged mid-air. As they passed near Shukaku's head, Naruto jumped. He created hundreds of shadow clones mid-flight, all diving toward Gaara's sleeping form. Shukaku's sand tried to defend, but there were too many targets. Several clones got through. The real Naruto landed directly in front of Gaara. Before Shukaku's consciousness could fully react, Naruto channeled chakra into his fist. Not Kurama's chakra, just his own strength, amplified by everything Kaguya had taught him. "Wake up!" His punch connected with Gaara's face, the impact jarring him awake. Gaara's eyes snapped open, confusion and pain mixed in his expression. The moment Gaara woke, Shukaku's form began destabilizing. The massive sand body started crumbling, but before it completely fell apart, the demon's consciousness made one last attempt to kill Naruto. A massive sand claw formed, ready to crush him. Naruto, exhausted from maintaining shadow clones and fighting, couldn't dodge. Then Kurama's chakra automatically flared. The Nine Tails wasn't going to let his vessel die. Red chakra surrounded Naruto like a cloak, and his eyes briefly turned slitted. With enhanced speed, Naruto grabbed Gaara and leaped away as Shukaku's final attack crushed the area where they had stood. They fell, tumbling down through tree branches before hitting the ground hard. Both were exhausted, barely able to move. Gaara stared at Naruto with wide, confused eyes. Why? Why did you save me? I tried to kill your friends. I tried to kill you. Naruto sat up slowly, wincing at his bruises. Because I understand you. I have a demon inside me too. The Nine Tails. People feared me, hated me, just like they did to you. Gaara's expression crumbled. For the first time in years, tears formed in his eyes. But you have people who care about you. I saw them cheering for you in the arena. I have no one. Naruto shook his head. That's not true. Your brother and sister came back to find you, didn't they? They're worried. You have people. You just have to let them in. How? Gaara's voice was barely a whisper. How do you bear it? The loneliness? The pain? I found something to protect, Naruto answered simply. People gave me a purpose. When I started protecting them, they started protecting me back. That's how bonds work. Kankuro and Temari appeared through the trees, rushing to Gaara's side. Baki emerged as well, looking exhausted and injured from his own battle. Gaara, we're retreating. The invasion has failed. News had spread through the sound and sand forces. Orochimaru had been injured by the third Hokage's final technique and had fled. Jiraiya had shown up and eliminated most of the giant snakes. Konoha's Jonin had repelled the invaders. The fourth Kazekage's body had been found, revealing Suna's manipulation. Baki looked at Naruto with complicated emotions. You spared Gaara. Thank you. He hoisted the exhausted Gaara onto his shoulder. We're going home. Suna will have to answer for this, but perhaps this wasn't the ending Orochimaru wanted. They disappeared into the forest, leaving Naruto alone in the clearing. Sakura and Shikamaru found him moments later, both relieved he was alive. The Hokage, Shikamaru said quietly. They're saying he fought Orochimaru. We need to get back to the village. The three genin rushed back to Konoha. What they found was devastation. Buildings were damaged. Fires burned in several districts. But the ninja were already organizing relief efforts, helping injured civilians and putting out fires. They found their way to the rooftop where the Hokage had fought. The barrier had fallen. Anbu members stood guard around a covered body. Naruto's heart sank as he recognized the shape. Kakashi stood nearby, his visible eye sad. The Hokage defeated Orochimaru's Edo Tensei summons and sealed the Snake Sannin's arms, preventing him from using jutsu. But the technique he used, the Dead Demon Consuming Seal, requires the user's life as payment. He knew it would kill him. Naruto felt a hollow emptiness in his chest. The third Hokage, the old man who had always looked out for him, who had protected him from the village's hatred, was gone. That evening, as the sun set over the damaged village, Naruto stood on the Hokage monument, looking out over Konoha. Kaguya appeared beside him silently, her presence a comfort. The third Hokage sacrificed himself for the village, she said quietly. That is the will of fire that Hashirama Senju established. Each generation protects the next. Naruto clenched his fists. I wasn't strong enough. If I had been faster, if I had stopped Gaara sooner, maybe the invasion wouldn't have gotten so far. You cannot save everyone, Kaguya replied. That is a lesson every shinobi must learn. What matters is that you did save people. Gaara is alive and might change. The invasion was repelled. You fought well. I want to be stronger, Naruto said with quiet intensity. Strong enough that no one else has to sacrifice themselves. Kaguya placed a hand on his shoulder. Then we will continue your training. But remember, true strength isn't just power, it's wisdom to know when to use it. 2 days later, Konoha held a funeral for the third Hokage and all those who had fallen defending the village. Thousands attended. Naruto stood with Team 7, watching as Iruka spoke about the Hokage's legacy. Konohamaru, the Hokage's grandson, cried openly. Iruka knelt beside him, explaining that those who died for the village lived on in everyone's hearts as long as Konoha existed. After the ceremony, the village elders approached Jiraiya. They asked him to become the 5th Hokage, but he declined. "I'm not suited for that role, but I know who is, Tsunade. She's Hashirama's granddaughter and one of the legendary Sannin. If anyone can heal this village, it's her." The elders were skeptical. She hasn't been in Konoha for decades. "Will she even accept? Leave that to me," Jiraiya said confidently. Then he looked at Naruto. "Hey kid, you want to come on a trip? We're going to recruit a new Hokage." Naruto glanced at Kaguya, who was invisible to everyone else. She gave a barely perceptible nod. Having Naruto train with Jiraiya, even temporarily, could provide valuable experience and connections. "Yeah," Naruto agreed. "Let's go find this Tsunade." Thus began the next chapter of Naruto's journey. The Chunin exams had tested his strength and revealed hidden threats. The invasion had shown him the cost of war and the value of sacrifice. His victory over Neji proved that destiny could be challenged. His mercy toward Gaara demonstrated that even enemies could be reached with understanding. The path ahead would be difficult, filled with greater challenges and stronger foes. But Naruto Uzumaki, raised by the rabbit goddess and carrying the 9 tails, would face it all with unwavering determination. The will of fire that the 3rd Hokage embodied hadn't died. It had been passed to the next generation, burning brighter than ever in the heart of one blonde-haired genin who would one day change the entire shinobi world. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Next comes the 6th and final saga in our What If timeline. Saga 6. The Legendary Sannin. The search for a new Hokage begins as Jiraiya and Naruto leave Konoha to find Tsunade, one of the legendary 3 ninja. However, before they can depart, a new threat emerges. 2 members of a mysterious organization called Akatsuki infiltrate the village with a single goal: capture the 9 tails. Their arrival sets off a chain of events that will push Naruto to master a legendary technique and witness the true power of the ninja who trained under the 3rd Hokage. In the original timeline, Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki enter Konoha shortly after the 3rd Hokage's funeral. They are discovered by Kakashi, who sends Asuma and Kurenai to investigate. The 2 Akatsuki members reveal themselves and engage in battle. Despite their skills, Asuma and Kurenai are outmatched. When Kakashi arrives and duels Itachi using their Sharingan, Itachi proves superior and uses Tsukuyomi to render Kakashi helpless. The illusion makes seconds feel like days of torture. Kakashi collapses into a coma. Guy arrives just in time to force Itachi and Kisame to retreat. Later, Itachi and Kisame track Naruto to a hotel where he is staying with Jiraiya. They corner Naruto in his room, but before they can capture him, Sasuke appears. Having heard that his brother returned to the village, Sasuke attacks with Chidori in blind rage. Itachi easily deflects the attack, breaks Sasuke's wrist, and then uses Tsukuyomi on him as well. Sasuke experiences 72 hours of watching his clan's massacre repeated endlessly in just a few seconds. His mind breaks, leaving him comatose like Kakashi. Jiraiya arrives and uses a powerful summoning technique to trap Itachi and Kisame, but they escape using Amaterasu, Itachi's black flames. With both Kakashi and Sasuke in comas, Jiraiya realizes only Tsunade can heal them. He takes Naruto and leaves to find her. During their journey, Jiraiya teaches Naruto the rasengan, a technique created by the 4th Hokage. The rasengan requires 3 steps: rotation, power, and containment. Naruto struggles with each stage but makes rapid progress using shadow clones to speed up training. They eventually find Tsunade in a town called Tanzaku. She is gambling and drinking with her assistant Shizune. When Jiraiya offers her the position of 5th Hokage, Tsunade refuses. She has lost faith in the title after watching her loved ones die for the village. Her younger brother Nawaki and her lover Dan both dreamed of becoming Hokage but died young. Naruto argues with Tsunade, and she mocks his dream of becoming Hokage. This angers Naruto, and they fight briefly. Tsunade defeats him easily with one finger. Orochimaru appears and meets with Tsunade privately. He offers to use Edo Tensei to bring back Nawaki and Dan if she will heal his arms, which were sealed by the 3rd Hokage. Tsunade is tempted but conflicted. She makes a bet with Naruto. If he can master the Rasengan in 1 week, she will give him her grandfather's necklace and believe in his dream. Naruto trains intensely for the full week. On the final day, Tsunade meets with Orochimaru, seemingly ready to accept his deal. However, when she touches him to begin healing, she attacks instead, having decided to protect Konoha's legacy. Kabuto fights to defend Orochimaru. Jiraiya and Naruto arrive to help. The battle showcases the power of the legendary Sannin with their giant summons, Gamabunta the Toad, Manda the Snake, and Katsuyu the Slug. Naruto uses the rasengan with a clone's help to defeat Kabuto, but is badly injured in the process. Tsunade overcomes her fear of blood and uses her full strength, including the devastating Heaven Kick of Pain against Orochimaru. Inspired by Naruto's determination, she accepts the position of 5th Hokage. She returns to Konoha and uses advanced medical techniques to treat Kakashi and Sasuke, helping them recover from their comas. 2 days after the 3rd Hokage's funeral, Konoha was still mourning. Naruto stood at the memorial stone with Team 7, thinking about everything that had changed. The village felt emptier without the old man's presence. Later that day, the village elders summoned Jiraiya. Koharu and Homura, the 3rd Hokage's former teammates, looked tired and worried. "Jiraiya, we need you to become the 5th Hokage," Koharu said directly. "The village cannot remain without a leader for long." Jiraiya scratched his head and laughed awkwardly. "Me? A Hokage? You must be joking. I'm not suited for paperwork and meetings." Homura frowned. "This is not a joke. You are one of the legendary Sannin. Your strength and experience make you the obvious choice." But Jiraiya shook his head firmly. "I have another suggestion. Tsunade. She is Hashirama's granddaughter, a medical genius, and one of the strongest ninja alive. If anyone should be Hokage, it's her." The elders exchanged glances. "Tsunade has been gone from the village for decades. Will she even accept?" Jiraiya grinned confidently. "Leave that to me. I'll find her and convince her. But I have one condition. Let me take Naruto Uzumaki with me." The elders were surprised. "The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Why?" "He needs training, and I can protect him better if he's with me. Plus, the kid deserves to see more of the world." After some discussion, the elders agreed. Jiraiya found Naruto and explained the mission. "Pack your bags, kid. We're going on a trip to recruit the next Hokage." Naruto felt a mix of excitement and sadness. He would miss Konoha, but this was an opportunity to train with a legendary Sannin. However, before they could leave, danger arrived. Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki entered Konoha. They moved through the village carefully, using Itachi's knowledge of Anbu patrol routes to avoid detection. But Kakashi noticed them near a tea shop. Something felt wrong. He sent Asuma and Kurenai to investigate while he followed from a distance. The 2 Jonin confronted the strangers in a secluded area. "Identify yourselves," Asuma demanded, his chakra blades ready. Itachi turned slowly, revealing his face. Kurenai gasped, "Itachi Uchiha, you're supposed to be dead or gone." "We're here for the Nine-Tails," Kisame announced casually, his massive sword, Samehada, resting on his shoulder. Asuma and Kurenai immediately attacked. Asuma's chakra blades clashed with Kisame's sword, while Kurenai attempted to trap Itachi in Genjutsu. But Itachi's Sharingan saw through her illusion instantly and reversed it. Kurenai found herself trapped in her own technique. Asuma tried to help, but Kisame's strength was overwhelming. Each swing of Samehada drained chakra on contact. They were outmatched. Just when things looked hopeless, Kakashi arrived. "Back away from them," he ordered coldly, revealing his own Sharingan eye. Itachi's expression remained calm. "Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. This will be interesting." Their Sharingan locked in combat. The air between them grew heavy with Genjutsu as layers of illusion clashed against counter-illusion. Kakashi's eye tracked Itachi's movements while simultaneously defending against visual tricks. But Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan was on a completely different level. Suddenly, the world around Kakashi shifted. He found himself in a nightmarish realm with a blood-red sky. He was bound to a cross, unable to move. Multiple copies of Itachi appeared around him, each holding a blade. "In this world, time, space, and even matter are all under my control," Itachi's voice echoed. "For the next 72 hours, you will experience this." The Itachis began stabbing Kakashi repeatedly. Each strike felt completely real. The pain was overwhelming. Seconds passed in the real world, but in the Tsukuyomi dimension, hours crawled by in agony. When the Genjutsu released, Kakashi collapsed to his knees, his mind shattered by the experience. Foam appeared at his mouth as his consciousness faded. Asuma and Kurenai rushed to his side in horror. "What did you do to him?" Asuma shouted. "Tsukuyomi," Itachi replied simply. "He will survive, but his mind needs time to recover." Kisame raised his sword. "Shall we finish them?" Before Itachi could answer, a powerful presence appeared. Guy landed between them and his comrades, his usual cheerful expression replaced with deadly seriousness. "I don't know who you are, but you've made a big mistake attacking my rival." Guy's taijutsu mastery meant he could fight without relying on eye contact, making him a dangerous counter to Sharingan users. "We're leaving," Itachi decided immediately. He and Kisame disappeared in a blur of speed before Guy could engage them. Medical ninja arrived quickly to take Kakashi to the hospital. News spread through the village rapidly. The Uchiha who massacred his clan had returned. Sasuke heard the news from some Chunin talking near the hospital. His blood turned cold, then boiling hot. Itachi, his brother, was here, in Konoha. Without thinking, Sasuke ran toward the location where Itachi had last been seen. Meanwhile, Itachi and Kisame had tracked Naruto to the hotel where he and Jiraiya were staying. Jiraiya had left briefly to gather supplies, leaving Naruto alone in his room. That's when they entered. Naruto sensed their presence immediately. Two powerful chakra signatures. He turned to see a man with shark-like features carrying a massive sword, and another man wearing a black cloak with red clouds. The second man's eyes made Naruto freeze for a split second. Sharingan. But not just any Sharingan. These eyes held a pattern he had never seen before. "Naruto Uzumaki," Itachi said calmly. "Come with us. Don't resist, and this will be painless." Naruto's hands moved into a seal. "I don't know who you are, but I'm not going anywhere." Shadow clones filled the room, all charging at the intruders. Kisame laughed and swung his sword, dispelling multiple clones with each sweep. Itachi moved through them like water, his Sharingan predicting every movement. Before the fight could escalate, someone crashed through the window. Sasuke landed between Naruto and his brother, lightning crackling around his left hand. "Itachi!" Sasuke's voice was filled with pure hatred. "I've been waiting for this!" He charged with Chidori, the lightning technique screaming as it cut through the air. Itachi simply sidestepped. The Chidori missed completely. Sasuke tried to redirect, but Itachi was faster. In a single motion, Itachi grabbed Sasuke's wrist and twisted. The sound of bone cracking echoed in the room. Sasuke screamed in pain as his wrist broke. "You're still weak, little brother," Itachi said without emotion. "You lack hatred." Itachi's hand shot out and grabbed Sasuke by the throat, lifting him off the ground. Their eyes met. Mangekyo Sharingan to normal Sharingan. The world shifted for Sasuke. Suddenly, he was back on that night, the night of the massacre. He watched helplessly as Itachi killed their parents again, and again, and again. The scene repeated endlessly. Each time feeling completely real, each time the pain fresh and terrible. Sasuke's screams became silent as his mind began breaking under the assault. That's enough. Naruto created dozens more clones and attacked from every angle, but before they could reach Itachi, the walls around them began moving. Jiraiya had returned. The room transformed into the inside of a massive toad's stomach. Summoning, Toad Mouth Bind. Jiraiya's voice boomed. The fleshy walls closed in, trying to trap the intruders. But Itachi's eyes bled as he used another technique. Black flames erupted from his vision, burning through the summoned stomach's walls. Amaterasu. Flames that could burn anything. Jiraiya grimaced. That technique was troublesome. The Toad Mouth Bind dispelled as it took too much damage. "We're leaving," Itachi stated. He dropped the unconscious Sasuke, and he and Kisame escaped through the hole created by Amaterasu. Jiraiya didn't pursue. He checked on Sasuke first. The boy's eyes were open but unfocused, lost in whatever nightmare Itachi had trapped him in. "What happened here?" Jiraiya asked Naruto. Naruto explained quickly while medical ninja were summoned. Sasuke was taken to the hospital where he lay in a coma next to Kakashi. Both had been victims of Tsukuyomi, their minds trapped in endless torture. That night, Jiraiya met with the village elders again. The Akatsuki are targeting Naruto. Staying in Konoha makes him a target that could endanger the village. I need to leave with him now. We'll find Tsunade, but more importantly, I'll keep the Nine Tails away from here while the village recovers. The elders agreed reluctantly. Guy, who had come to report about the earlier incident, spoke up. Kakashi and Sasuke are both in severe trauma-induced comas. Only Tsunade's medical skills can treat that kind of psychological damage. Find her quickly. The next morning, Naruto and Jiraiya left Konoha through the main gate. Sakura came to see them off, worried about Sasuke but trusting that they would bring back help. As they walked down the road, Jiraiya explained more about their mission. Tsunade is the granddaughter of the first Hokage. She's also a master of medical ninjutsu and possesses incredible strength. But she hasn't been back to Konoha in over 20 years. Convincing her won't be easy. Naruto nodded seriously. What about that Akatsuki organization? Why do they want me? Jiraiya's expression darkened. They're collecting the tailed beasts. Organizations like that are dangerous because they operate in shadows. We'll need to be careful. As they traveled, Jiraiya decided it was time to teach Naruto something special. You've got massive chakra reserves and you can create tons of shadow clones. That makes you perfect for learning a technique that took the fourth Hokage 3 years to master. It's called the rasengan. He demonstrated, forming a swirling blue sphere in his palm. The power radiating from it made Naruto's hair stand on end. First step is rotation, Jiraiya explained, handing Naruto a water balloon. Fill it with your chakra and make the water spin until the balloon bursts. This teaches chakra rotation. Naruto started immediately. Having trained with Kaguya, his chakra control was already strong, but the rasengan required a different application. He had to spin chakra in multiple directions simultaneously. The first day he managed to make the water swirl slightly. By the second day, he could create small whirlpools. On the third day, the balloon finally burst. Jiraiya was impressed. Most people take weeks for that first step. You're progressing fast. The second step used a rubber ball. Now you need power. Build up enough force to burst this ball with rotation alone. This was harder. Rubber was thicker and required more concentrated chakra. Naruto practiced constantly as they traveled. Kaguya appeared to him privately during the nights. The rasengan concentrates chakra into a small point and releases it with maximum impact. Very efficient, she observed, giving him subtle guidance on chakra flow patterns. By the 5th day, the rubber ball exploded. Jiraiya was shocked. 5 days? That's incredible progress. But he also noticed something odd. The kid seemed to have an almost instinctive feel for rotational chakra flow, as if he'd worked with similar principles before. Jiraiya made a mental note to keep a closer eye on him. Natural talent was one thing, but this was something else. The third and final step was containment. Now you need to combine rotation and power while keeping the sphere stable. That's the hardest part. Most people never get past this stage. He gave Naruto a regular ball to practice with. Naruto formed the rotation and built up power. But the moment he tried to maintain both, the chakra destabilized and dispersed. It required perfect balance. He created shadow clones to practice different approaches simultaneously. One clone focused on rotation, while another focused on power, while the original tried to balance both. After traveling for over a week, they finally arrived at Tanzaku Town. The place was famous for gambling and entertainment. Jiraiya asked around about Tsunade's location and learned she was at a gambling house. They found her sitting at a table with a younger woman with black hair carrying a pig. Tsunade looked much younger than she should be, appearing to be in her 20s despite being over 50. She maintained her youth with a special technique. "Tsunade," Jiraiya called out cheerfully. She looked up and her expression soured immediately. "Jiraiya, what do you want?" "I'm on a losing streak and not in the mood." They sat down and Jiraiya explained, "The third Hokage is dead. Konoha needs a new leader. The elders want you to become the 5th Hokage." Tsunade's face hardened. "Not interested. Being Hokage is a fool's job. You just die for a village that's already forgotten you." Naruto slammed his hands on the table. "Don't talk about the Hokage that way. The third died protecting everyone. It's an honor." Tsunade laughed mockingly. "Honor? My grandfather was the first Hokage. My granduncle was the second. They both died young. My little brother Nawaki dreamed of being Hokage. He died at 12. My lover Dan wanted to be Hokage. He died in his 20s. That title is cursed. That's because they were willing to protect what matters." Naruto shot back. "I'm going to be Hokage someday, and I'll prove that the title means something." Tsunade stood up and flicked Naruto's forehead with one finger. The force sent him flying backward through 3 tables. "You, Hokage? You're just a loud brat who doesn't understand reality." She walked out with Shizune following behind. Jiraiya sighed and helped Naruto up. Well, that went poorly. Naruto rubbed his head, angry but also feeling challenged. This Tsunade woman was strong and bitter, but he would prove her wrong. That evening, someone else met with Tsunade. Orochimaru appeared in her hotel room, his arms wrapped in bandages. "Hello, Tsunade." "It's been a long time." Tsunade's eyes narrowed. "Orochimaru, I heard your invasion failed, and the third sealed your arms. Come to beg for help?" Orochimaru smiled despite his weakened state. "Actually, yes. I'm offering a trade. You have medical skills that can heal anything. I need my arms restored. In exchange, I can give you what you want most. I can bring back Nawaki and Dan. Using Edo Tensei, I can resurrect them and let you see them again." Tsunade's breath caught. "You're lying. The dead should stay dead." But her voice wavered. Orochimaru could see the temptation in her eyes. "Think about it. I'll give you 3 days to decide. Meet me at the ruins outside town if you accept." He disappeared into the shadows. Tsunade stood frozen, her mind filled with images of her brother and lover. The next day, Tsunade found Naruto practicing with the rasengan in a field outside town. He had been at it non-stop. She watched as he created a spinning sphere that kept destabilizing. "Still trying to prove yourself?" she asked. Naruto looked up. "I'll master this technique and I'll become Hokage. You'll see." Tsunade pulled out a necklace from under her shirt. It had a green crystal attached to it. "This belonged to my grandfather, the first Hokage. I gave it to Nawaki when he said he wanted to be Hokage. He died the next day. I gave it to Dan when he said the same thing. He died shortly after. This necklace is cursed. Everyone who wears it dies." She looked at Naruto seriously. "I'll make you a bet. If you can master the rasengan in 1 week, I'll give you this necklace and I'll acknowledge your dream. If you fail, I keep my beliefs and you give up on being Hokage." Naruto's eyes burned with determination. "You're on! I'll show you what real determination looks like." Naruto trained relentlessly. He knew he had less than 3 days before Tsunade made her decision about Orochimaru's offer. Kaguya appeared to him each night. "You're close. Think of it as a self-sustaining system," she would advise, helping him visualize the chakra flow. On the final day before the meeting with Orochimaru, Naruto made a breakthrough. He couldn't form it perfectly with one hand alone, but he discovered he could use a shadow clone to help stabilize it. One clone would form the rotation while the original added power and containment. Together, they created a perfect blue sphere, the Rasengan. He immediately ran to show Tsunade but couldn't find her. She had already left for the ruins to meet Orochimaru. At the ruined castle outside town, Tsunade faced Orochimaru and Kabuto. "Have you decided?" Orochimaru asked. "Will you heal me in exchange for your loved ones?" Tsunade approached slowly. "Show me first. Prove you can bring them back." Orochimaru smiled and began forming hand seals for Edo Tensei. But just as he started, Tsunade lunged forward and struck him with a devastating punch. The ground cracked under Orochimaru as he was sent flying. "You think I would betray Konoha? My grandfather and granduncle built that village. I won't let you insult their legacy." Orochimaru coughed up blood, shocked by the attack. "So you choose Konoha over your loved ones. How disappointing." Kabuto immediately engaged Tsunade while Orochimaru recovered. Despite being a medical ninja, Kabuto was highly skilled in combat. He knew human anatomy perfectly and used chakra scalpels to strike at precise points. Meanwhile, Jiraiya arrived with Naruto and Shizune. They had tracked Tsunade here. "Looks like we're late to the party," Jiraiya muttered. But Tsunade was trembling. Blood. Kabuto had cut his own hand to use as a weapon, and the sight of blood triggered Tsunade's phobia. After watching Dan bleed out in her arms years ago, she developed a condition where seeing blood paralyzed her with fear. Kabuto took advantage of this, striking her repeatedly with chakra scalpels that disrupted her chakra and damaged her muscles internally. Shizune tried to intervene, but Kabuto was too fast. "Some legendary ninja," Kabuto mocked, defeated by the sight of blood. Naruto watched Tsunade struggle and remembered everything she had said. About losing people, about the Hokage title being cursed. He understood now. She wasn't weak. She was terrified of losing anyone else. "Hey!" Naruto shouted. "Why don't you fight someone who won't freeze up?" He charged at Kabuto with shadow clones appearing around him. Kabuto easily deflected the clones, his medical knowledge letting him strike with surgical precision. His chakra scalpel cut into Naruto's shoulder, severing muscle fibers. Another strike disrupted Naruto's chakra flow. "You're even weaker than Tsunade," Kabuto said coldly. "Your form is sloppy and your chakra control is amateur level." He slashed at Naruto's leg, cutting tendons. Naruto stumbled but refused to fall. Blood ran down his arm and leg, but he kept fighting. He created more clones, using them to surround Kabuto. Kabuto destroyed them methodically, but Naruto was setting up something. "Now!" Naruto shouted. One clone grabbed Kabuto from behind, restraining him for just a moment. Another clone and Naruto worked together, one forming the rotation while the other added power. The blue sphere of the rasengan materialized between them. Rasengan. Naruto drove the technique into Kabuto's stomach. The impact was devastating. The rotating chakra tore through Kabuto's body, ripping apart his internal organs and disrupting his chakra network. Kabuto screamed and was sent flying through a wall, his body broken. He tried to use medical ninjutsu to heal himself, but the damage was too severe. He collapsed, barely conscious. But Naruto was in bad shape too. Kabuto's chakra scalpel attacks had damaged his muscles and disrupted his chakra flow. He fell to his knees, breathing heavily. Blood continued to flow from his wounds. Tsunade stared at Naruto in amazement. This kid had actually done it. Not perfectly, not cleanly, but he had mastered the principle of the Rasengan using teamwork. More than that, he had risked himself to protect her even though she had been nothing but harsh to him. Seeing Naruto's blood, something broke inside Tsunade. The paralysis faded. She moved forward and bit her thumb, forming hand seals. Summoning jutsu. A massive slug appeared, towering over the battlefield. Katsuyu, her summon. At the same time, Jiraiya summoned Gamabunta, and Orochimaru, desperate now, summoned Manda. Three giant creatures faced each other. The legendary Sanin's battle had begun in earnest. Gamabunta swung his massive blade at Manda. The snake dodged and coiled around, trying to constrict the toad. Katsuyu split into smaller slugs that attached to allies, healing their wounds. Tsunade immediately directed one to Naruto, and the slug began repairing his damaged muscles and restoring his chakra flow. Heaven kick of pain, Tsunade launched herself into the air and came down with a devastating kick aimed at Orochimaru. The ground exploded under the impact, creating a massive crater. Orochimaru barely dodged, his speed impressive despite his weakened state. Jiraiya engaged Orochimaru directly, while Tsunade focused on destroying Kabuto's ability to continue fighting. She struck the ground repeatedly, each impact creating earthquakes that cracked the castle ruins. Manda tried to attack her, but Gamabunta intercepted, the two giant summons clashing with incredible force. Katsuyu provided support, healing Jiraiya and Tsunade while attacking with acid. Orochimaru realized he couldn't win this battle. His arms were still sealed, and Kabuto was too injured to help effectively. "Kabuto, we're leaving," he commanded. Manda grudgingly allowed Orochimaru and Kabuto to escape on his back before disappearing. Jiraiya started to pursue, but Tsunade stopped him. "Let them go. We need to treat the injured." She went to Naruto, who was still being healed by Katsuyu's slug. His wounds were closing, but he was exhausted. Tsunade placed her hands on his chest, using advanced medical ninjutsu to accelerate the healing process and stabilize his condition completely. "Why?" Tsunade asked quietly. "Why fight so hard for me? I insulted your dream. I rejected Konoha." Naruto looked at her seriously. "Because you're scared. Not of fighting, you're scared of losing people. I get that. But running away won't help. The Hokage protects everyone, even when it's scary, even when it hurts. That's what makes it meaningful." Tears formed in Tsunade's eyes. She took off the necklace and placed it around Naruto's neck. "You win the bet. You matched the Rasengan's power, even if your form still needs work. And you're right. I've been running from my fears for too long." She stood up, her hands steady. The blood no longer paralyzed her. Something in Naruto's words and actions had broken through her trauma. "Let's go back to Konoha. I'll accept the position of 5th Hokage." They returned to the village together. When they arrived, Tsunade immediately went to the hospital where Kakashi and Sasuke lay in their trauma-induced comas. She examined them both carefully, analyzing the psychological damage caused by Tsukuyomi. Using advanced medical techniques combined with her knowledge of chakra systems and mental trauma, she began treatment. She carefully stimulated specific neural pathways while using medical ninjutsu to repair the damage to their minds. It was delicate work that required incredible precision and chakra control. Hours passed as she worked. Slowly, carefully, she stabilized their conditions and began bringing them back to consciousness. By morning, both Kakashi and Sasuke had opened their eyes, still weak but no longer trapped in endless nightmares. Days later, the inauguration ceremony was held. Tsunade stood before the entire village wearing the Hokage robes and hat. "I, Tsunade Senju, accept the responsibility of 5th Hokage." I will protect this village and everyone in it, just as my grandfather did." The crowd cheered. Naruto stood with his team, smiling widely. He had helped convince a legendary ninja to come home and become Hokage. More importantly, he had taken the first real steps toward mastering the rasengan. Jiraiya had told him that while he still needed a clone's help to form it properly, he had grasped the technique's principles faster than anyone expected. As Naruto touched the necklace around his neck, he felt ready for whatever challenges came next. Kaguya appeared to him that night in his apartment. "You did well. You helped Tsunade overcome her trauma. That required both strength and wisdom." Naruto grinned. "Thanks, but this is just the beginning, right? The Akatsuki are still out there. Orochimaru is still a threat. And I need to master the rasengan properly without assistance." Kaguya nodded. "Yes, the path ahead will be difficult, but you are growing into a fine shinobi. Not just in power, but in understanding what it means to protect others." Naruto looked out his window at the village below. Konoha had suffered through an invasion and lost its Hokage. But now it was rebuilding with new leadership, and he, Naruto Uzumaki, raised by the rabbit goddess, would continue training to one day become strong enough to protect it all. If you enjoyed this complete timeline rewrite, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.